It's another fight night from Kazakhstan. We're at the Show Palace in Almaty, and it's title time for a couple of young, talented Kazakh fighters, particularly Kunkabayev, the cruiserweight who's unbeaten in two with 2 stoppages. He is top of the bill, and he's up against another opponent with much more experience and more of a record. The latest in his way as he makes his way towards a potential first title. That's the WBO Asia Pacific cruiserweight, our top of the bill. And then Nurtis Ashbanov in action as well. That's in a 10-rounder at lightweight. Now he's unbeaten in 10, and he's up against one of his stiffest tasks to date against Evgeny Smirnov. Looking forward to the action unfolding tonight. We've got 5 bouts for you and a stack of young, talented Kazakh boxers in action over the course of the next couple of hours. Barry Jones with me once again. Looking forward to all of that. And Barry, I think it's fair to say that when you and I called Kunkabayev's debut last August, we were quite impressed by what we saw. We'll bring in Barry in due course, but Armin Mamniov, the MC tonight, will be bringing the fighters to the ring for the opening contest. So let's join him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum! This evening is held in full compliance with sanitary epidemiological standards, and we hope you will enjoy MTK Fight Night. So, this evening, organized by Mtk Kazakhstan in association with Mtk Global and Top Rank, and sponsored by KazTK University, Round 10, Gold Sapa and Buka. This boxing event is sanctioned by Kazakhstan Professional Boxing Commission, referee and judges of this evening: Paul Tuzinde, Baurjan Iskakov, Irbol Norushev, Den Muhammad Abaykhan, Telek Manap, Dulat Bazarbayev, timekeeper Darren Imakhanov, Dr. Askhad Zulkarnayola, Inspector Mariam Muhammadjan. Ladies and gentlemen, referees and judges are ready. Boxers are ready. Are you ready? First bout, and to the red corner of the ring, we invite the boxer representing Urals, Kazakhstan. Please welcome Sakhandek Muldachev.
Here we go then with the first of our fights tonight. This one at featherweight, and that is definitely a step up in weight for Sakhandek Muldachev, the 26-year-old who's unbeaten in 2 so far. But he's been boxing at a much or significantly lower poundage by a fair few pounds, and now comfortably inside the featherweight limit at 125.2 pounds. But he's unbeaten in an early skirmish of unbeaten fighters to start things off.
His opponent, who we invite to the blue corner of the ring. Please welcome Baghdad Uradayev.
He's a year older, Baghdad Uradayev, who's unbeaten in 3 so far. It's only 5 fights experience between the pair of them. But it may well be that the size, or certainly weight, may play some sort of role in this. Muldachev, who was 123 pounds when he fought last time, whereas Uradayev, and I think as you can already see the size of him, he actually turned a professional on the undercard of the bill we showed last August that Barry and I commentated on when he made his debut on the undercard that night. He actually came in at 139 pounds that evening. He was super light. 125.6, he's inside the featherweight limit, but just maybe starting to get to his fighting weight, and he looks in great shape ahead of tonight's assignment.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is 6th round of featherweight division. Introducing you first and fighting out out of the red corner. Professional record of the boxer. 2 wins, no losses. 1 win by way of knockout. Representing Uradayev, Kazakhstan. Please welcome Shaiken Muldachev. His opponent, representing a blue corner, professional record of the boxers, 3 wins, no losses, representing Mtk Kazakhstan. Please welcome Uradayev. Referee of this bout, Stikkiy.
Боксеры, слушайте мою команду. Правила не нарушаем. Пожали руки. Удачи.
Here we go then. First of the night. And unusual straight away to see a young Kazakh boxer who isn't a southpaw, Barry Jones, a bit of a rarity.
It really is, isn't it? Nice to see as well for a change, but what he is, like all of them, is they always want to take the centre of the ring to start the round off, and they always want to try to impose their physical presence on their opponent.
I do think that he, as I mentioned before, does have a little bit of physical presence compared to Muldachev, who's been sort of comfortably inside the limit, just above super bantam really throughout the early part of his career, but perhaps that'll lend itself to speed and mobility to his advantage. And already you can see in the red trunks Muldachev is looking to use some footwork and angles to create problems for Uradayev.
And to be fair to Muldachev, he's firing off those angles, isn't he? So he's rolling nice, staying nice and low. He's the shorter fighter, he's making the best of that. So he's staying nice and low, and he's constantly a moving target. And yeah, when he's changing the angle, he's trying to fire off it.
Nice
Just
body shot.
Uradayev just a little bit more. He's just got to plant that front foot a little bit closer to the target and just try and intimidate Muldachev a little bit physically before he lets his hands go.
I think you can see already that Muldachev posed a few problems to Uradayev tonight. Maybe that straight right hand to the body will help to slow him down.
Just got to sit there, a good shot there, good little left hand there from the southpaw stance from Muldachev. Uradayev just needs to sit down and just a little bit lower. Just open those legs just a little bit wider, sit a little bit low, because he's punching, but a lot of his shots, I know he's not looking to unload, but he's headhunted a little bit, and with Muldachev a little bit low, he's feeling hard to hit the target. If he stays a bit lower into the chest area, with that constantly moving target, the body movement, he'll get some clean shots on target then.
Try and make that size come to bear. Good body shot's been a great start this.
Yeah.
First couple of minutes have been impressive from Muldachev. That was better from Uradayev, wasn't it? He managed to get close, double left hook to the body, and hoping to pin him down, slow him down.
But then straight after that, then he throws 2 straight shots with nothing in them really. They're a little bit laboured, the punches, and Muldachev just rolling underneath. This is a bit better here from Uradayev.
Yeah, he got through there, Barry, with a couple of left hands, left hooks to the head, and suddenly, having been unable to match and deal with the speed of Muldachev through the first couple of minutes, a good end to the round this from Uradayev, and that sets us up nicely. Well, was Uradayev coming to terms with Muldachev at the end of the round, or just maybe making his tactics, his strength, his belief, all of that come to bear?
Well, he saw he was getting close to the target there, and maybe he's going to have to stalk this Muldachev down. But I think Muldachev then, right at the end of the round, he fired back with a lovely fast hard combination, and they were probably the heaviest shots that he landed with all throughout the round. I thought his movement, Muldachev, was fantastic. They nice and low, roll underneath the straight shots there from Uradayev for most of the time. Uradayev did pin him to the ropes a couple of times and had a bit of success, but for me, I thought the better shots and the movement come from Muldachev. For me, I think, and even at the very end, then when he was in a bit of pressure, he's the one who fired back with some clean punches as well. So, interesting round.
Here we go then. into round 2, scheduled for 6. The interesting thing about tonight's fights as well, every single fighter, there's only 2 title fights, every single fighter inside the division weight limit.
Yeah,
Very unusual.
It's a rarity. Oh, good body shot there from Uradayev.
And he's matching Muldachev for speed. A clip there with a heavy right hand. Just a reminder to him that it's not one-way traffic. You can't always get what you want in this game.
That's good work there from him, though. The little uppercut hook and then just taking a little half a step back to move round then to the left.
His body shot in there from Muldachev too, but he's been outlanded sort of 3 or 4 to 1 at the moment, start of this round.
He is, but I think he's trying to know. He was the more elusive in the first round, though he's taking the mantle of aggressor here. It's a good left hand there from Muldachev.
Yeah, he landed another right hand to the body, and then there was an overhand left in there too. And although there are perhaps less of his shots, though they certainly are eye-catching shots, and he's trying to push the bigger man back.
Good uppercut as well there from Muldachev. And good head movement there with Uradayev. Just look at the head hunt a little bit. And
was he off balance? Yeah, was he rocked there? Is he walking into big shots, the smaller man? Great credit to him, and it's making for a terrific fight, and early on too.
Good body shot there as well there from Uradayev. Oh. It's a fast pace, isn't it? It's a good left hook again there from Uradayev.
Well, you wouldn't have imagined this change around in the tactics after the first round from Muldachev, where he was using angles, his speed was looking the difference in the fight. Here he's planting his feet, he's very square on, and he's taking quite a bit. Right tactics are questionable.
Well, I think for Muldachev, I think the first round the tactics were working perfectly, the moving round, but obviously he maybe thought the pressure was getting to him, and maybe he thought he could be physically the stronger of the two. But he's had success in this round, but he's taking too many to get forward, before he gets to the target, before he can land with his own.
Oh, he did land one nice body shot, but a couple of left hooks and an uppercut in there as well. He's clipped again there, Muldachev. Some heavy shots getting through towards the end of this second round.
A good movement there from Uradayev as well. There's a little roll under the left hand and a little spin off.
What a pace this has been fought at, and they really have let their hands go in this round. Terrific stuff. Well, in the current climate worldwide, there's no doubt that these kind of matches are being put together perhaps early on in a boxer's career than would have been the case a year and a half, 2 years ago. There's no question about that. And we saw it on that bill last August, didn't we? When we saw a couple of fights. Tolesh, who's coming up after to this one as well, lost for the first time on that August bill against Sapabey Adarov. That was a really good fight, wasn't it? Between two guys who'd had sort of 4 or 5 bouts between them, and here we have two guys who just sort of 2 and 3 fights into their career and serving up a treat too.
They are, and that's what the difference with these Kazakh fighters, that they're matching them hard. And I mean, I don't mean incredibly hard where it's going to shorten your career, though that could be a possibility. But they want to fast track them. So everyone wants to be fast tracked. But we've certainly seen recently, it's okay fast tracking a fighter if he's had the right tests leading up to that fight. Talent alone doesn't mean you should be fast tracked. You have to have a hard fight. You have to have a fight where you have to prove certain factors of your game are prepared for title shots. And I think the Kazakh fighters and certainly their managers and the people in charge are wanting to do that the right way. Give them proper tests so they can move them quickly. Because that generation of 20, 25 fights, as a prospect is no longer with us.
And I suppose only last weekend is the proof in the pudding of that, about knowing when a fighter is ready. Have they had enough experience to prove that? Have they been asked the right questions along the way? You had that, I suppose, with Sean McComb on Friday night, and then Josh Kelly against Avanisi on Saturday night too. You never quite know. These guys have been tested very, very early on.
And it's just a lovely left uppercut just before we were talking there from Uradayev. It's not so much that they can't do it, they're not ready, or they haven't got what it takes. But when you have a test or a mini test early in your career, then you're just doubling down on yourself, making sure. You're just like anything in training, your due diligence, making sure your training is perfect. It has to be that in your career. Just make sure I'm pretty sure you're tough. I'm pretty sure you can grit in. Let's have a little test and find out, because the worst place to find out is fight night, on a big fight on the big stage.
Yeah, and also let's get it right. Both of these guys, for a sort of 2-0, 3-0 opponent, they've been hit more in 2.5 rounds so far than they might have been in 10, 11, 12 fights against traditional journeymen on the way up.
Well, there's an argument there. Is that any good?
Is that too much? Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely right.
But it's not a war of attrition. It's a hard scrap, and I think it only. We are in the game where you are going to take punches, and a fight like this, for your development going forward in your career, forget about your life after boxing, and for your career, it is a right test. It's a good test.
Lovely body shot there from Muldachev. Again, he's thrown that right hook to the body underneath the elbow of Uradayev particularly well. He really is trying to meet him head on, punch for punch.
But he was the one moving around. I think it was Uradayev who was trying to because he looked the bigger. He was trying to be the physically stronger of the two and pushing back. But Uradayev was being quite effective on moving round and staying low and bobbing and weaving. Now he's bull-like, isn't he, in his approach?
Yeah, strange turnaround, I think, for Muldachev.
But what he's done, whether he's winning the rounds or not, he's the one dictating the pace, and that might tell now in the next few rounds.
Well, that might have been a tougher round to score. I had a 1-1 going into the third. Thought Muldachev won the first through his boxing, making Uradayev miss. Then Uradayev found his range. Also, he had a guy in front of him he could hit in the second. There, maybe Muldachev in the red trunks, there we see him now. Was he able to push Uradayev back in that round and get some success on the back of it?
He's pushing him back, and he is landing, and he's having enough success, but he's also taking shots coming forward. That's the thing. He's stopped moving the head and stopped rolling forward. He's sort of, what I say, bull-like, so he's coming forward in a straight line, so he's having success, but he's also having to take shots coming forward as well.
Warming up, and that is we've got Tolesh coming up next, and that is Talget Shaiken, who's in action. Tough assignment potentially at welterweight, that is, as well, against Evgeny Pavkov, who I think Barry and I might have commentated on when he was in Brentwood in England against Michael McKinson, an unbeaten, you won't call him a prospect anymore, would you? Sort of 14 or 15 fights in, and McKinson looking for a big fight in the coming months, and maybe he's got that, hasn't he, coming up in the next month or so.
Well, it's with someone like Pavkov, it's one of two things. He's either made for you because he walks right at you and you know where he is, or again, talking about tests, he's a guy who can punch a little bit and he's not afraid to let his hands go. That's the important thing about Pavkov, or the Pavkov we've seen against McKinson. Who knows what he's like now? But yeah, if we see the same guy, then it could be an absolute nightmare for you, or made to measure. He's one of those sort of opponents.
Back to this one, into the fourth, and I think I'm surprised that Muldachev has continued this from the second round onwards, this front foot assault. He just wants to get onto the chest, the head dangerously low pretty much, but having boxed so well in that first round, and it worked so well for him, I really am stunned by his approach subsequently.
Oh, good shot though there from him, lovely. Again though, he's just going a little bit lower again now, just a little bit more variety in that movement coming forward. That's a good shot again. If he's a constant moving target as he's moving forward, so he's always bobbing that head and rolling those shoulders, then him being the aggressor is not a bad thing. And also, to be fair, even if he's getting caught with shots, he's walking through them and he's landing with shots of his own, so he'll feel he's having the better of the exchanges.
What he also does as well, he started southpaw, and you can see him switching. I mean, a lot of the time he's been square on, hasn't he? Because he just wants to get close, and once he's got his chin near the chest of Uradayev, he's happy to work from there. And I think pretty much throughout this round he's generally been orthodox, hasn't he?
Good left hook there from Uradayev. Oh, good shot back again there. Bit more weight. If you could have just brought the head over to the left when he saw that right hand there, Muldachev, that would have been maybe a fight finisher. It's a lovely right hand over the top.
And now a response there, maybe just finding himself a little bit of space. Uradayev off the back foot.
Good from both there with the footwork, because Uradayev took the step to the left, spin around the target, got in the right position to go again. But Muldachev seen it, and rather than just try and tuck in tight, he just took a step back and negated all the good work there Uradayev did with his feet. Good there from Uradayev, though, nice little short right hand, and there's the response back there from Muldachev.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Good. It could be pretty close, this one, I think it's fair to say. There's Uradayev, maybe harder than he might have been imagining coming into this one. We were thinking maybe his sort of size and his strength might play a part. Actually, Muldachev, and here we see him coming forward again. Muldachev, he's trying to take that away from he's trying to take it away from Uradayev.
Well, I think he was effective in this round for me, Muldachev. I really do. I think we're not going to see it here now. He's getting caught there, but I think for the first 2 minutes of the round, he was really moving ahead more than he did the round previous, which was another close round. And yeah, I think a lot of shots from Uradayev, if they were hitting, they were glancing blows for most part.
And the other boxes on the card, wait and watch. That was Evgeny Smirnov is in action against Nurtis Ashbanov in the first of our title fights a bit later on. Here we are in round 5, scheduled for 6 of this one. Oh, lovely. Terrific sequence of punches put together there by Uradayev. Whether he's been told he maybe needs to wake up. I think the last 2 rounds have been close, but I wouldn't have been surprised, wouldn't argue if they went to Muldachev in the red trunks.
That's a good shot, lovely uppercut there from Muldachev. Just bent the legs as well, just get a bit better angle on the shot. That's what Muldachev's made. By Muldachev being the aggressor, that means it's his pace they're fighting at. Whatever the pace is, it's his pace that he's dictating.
And what he's changed up, Barry, from the second round, where he definitely was being outfought and outlanded. Actually, the kind of output of the pair of them is much more level, I think it's fair to say, through the 3rd and 4th and now into this 5th round.
Again, it's a good clean shot. He's been pushed back here, Uradayev. He's landing with some nice clean shots just over the gloves there of Muldachev. And again, good double up, triple up with the left hook.
Again, the heads come close together. Good shot there from Muldachev too. But it's been a good response. Good start to the round. First couple of minutes for Uradayev. Can he build on it?
The thing is, what he can't do, which I thought he was doing quite easily in the first round, was pushing back with the punches. It's not working for him.
Muldachev did have plenty of amateur experience. So tough is it, of course, to win national championships in Kazakhstan. The talent pool is so deep. He was a quarter-finalist a couple of years ago in 2018, but he's fighting more like a pro tonight, I think it's fair to say.
Oh, good shot, good left hand there from Muldachev, lovely shot.
Yeah, on the back of a body shot. Again, the right hand has been effective for him in that department throughout tonight.
feeling the pace here. Uradayev, you know, he is. You can see, but I don't think he's exhausted. He had a bit of a gulp of breath there for the first time, but I think his punches are the cleaner and the crisper of the two. So he should be letting his punches go.
Really competitive this, with one more to go. And getting ready to go. Fighters still to come on the bill. I'm looking forward to all of that. Abi Tolesh against Vasily Stikkiy coming up. And next at middleweight here, Baghdad Uradayev, you can see in short, he's been a harder night's work, I think, than he might have anticipated coming into this. Great credit to Sagandak Muldachev, who has changed things up. He started as southpaw, he switched hit throughout this. The last couple of rounds he's been in orthodox. He started boxing at angles with plenty of movement and footwork, and then from the second round on he has marched forward and he's made it a war of attrition. Really appealing watch this, with the final round to come. I think, you know, the point we're making about hard matches earlier on in careers these days, good combination that from Uradayev. When he does put his shots together, he looks good. He's just not really had the space to do it from the second round onwards. But or he's not finding the space.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but in the last round, Uradayev, you know, start of the round, even though it was Muldachev coming forward, Uradayev was letting his hands go with the cleaner, crisper shots as we're seeing here. So, you know, even though Muldachev was pushing forward, it looked like, you know, if Uradayev could keep him off, then it was his round. But then the sheer work rate and pressure of Muldachev, with some good shots that combined in that, was enough for me to win in the round and have him ahead at the minute.
Yeah, and I must admit, coming into this, I thought the strength and size of Uradayev might just be the difference between them. Actually, it's completely the other way around. But this is a good response from Uradayev again. As Barry said in the previous round, he did have a good first minute and a half or more. He started out again, but this little guy, Sagandak Muldachev, he looks so strong.
And that roll that he does, which is not that difficult to do, it doesn't take a lot of energy to do it. But good response here from Uradayev. But for the fighter opposite you, throwing and missing, that's draining. And that's what he's done. But again, in this round so far, even though he's landed some good shots that we're seeing here, he's taking too many. Muldachev here coming forward. Uradayev keeping his shape really well, which he has, to be fair, throughout the fight. He's a lovely little stylist, isn't he? And he's kept those elbows tucked in tight most of the time. The hands have been up and the punches have been straight and crisp.
But, you know, now, that after the first round onwards, when he gets the space, like now, Uradayev, he does look the better fighter of the two. He's just unable to sustain it, or perhaps more pertinently, he's not been allowed to.
But he has in this round, to be fair. He's worked a
good body shots. And for the first time since the second round, he's actually managed to push back Muldachev. Little stutter, maybe off balance there from Muldachev.
The left hook to the body when he felt it in Muldachev. There's a lovely shot from Uradayev, and just needs a real bite down on that gum shield now and keep that pressure on and try and win this round as big as he can.
He really has shown that he wants it, how much he wants it. Uradayev here, this is his best round. He's had, you know, two really good rounds in the second and this sixth. Good fight, real test for the pair of them so early on in their careers. As you said, Barry, you probably wouldn't want 10, 11 of those in a row so early on, as we were balancing out the discussion between learning, being put in tests, but obviously getting that balance right.
And bear in mind, for both of the fighters, because they're both undefeated at the minute, they're both relatively young, it tells you a lot about each one of them, how they can dig in, for Muldachev, how he can change tactics. maybe not always the right way, but maybe it is. Maybe it's enough for him to win the fight. I think that last one was a big. No, it was only you could score the one way. It's only 1 point extra, of course, but it was a big win, a big finish to the fight in the round there from Uradayev. I think he was really committed in that last round, but the pressure of throughout the fight after that first round from Muldachev has been immense, and he coped with it quite well in stages, and Muldachev showed a little bit of adaptability in his game. So I think for either corner, it's shown them not all you want to know, but quite a lot already in this early stage of their career, of how far you can push them and how you could test them in fights against higher quality or more experienced opposition.
So time to total it up. Could be pretty close, and of course the come forward style of Muldachev perhaps pleasing on the eye for the judges. Who was most effective in all of those exchanges up close? I thought it was just Muldachev personally, but really close competitive fight.
I've got it level, I think.
Yeah,
you don't know until you see your card, do you, how you have it, but yeah.
It was those third and fourth rounds were really competitive.
They could have gone either way, reversed or gone both to one guy. That's the issue there, but it's a good fight though. Good, hell of a pace.
Yeah.
For the sixth rounder, it could have looked like after the first round what we were going to see from each one, and then it was totally different to what we've seen by round 3 and 4.
Referee calling both fighters in. Armin is ready with the scorecards. Okay, let's confirm it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6th round contest, we go to the judges' scorecard for decision. All 3 judges, 54-60. Win by unanimous decision is a blue corner, Baghdad Uradayev.
Well, sometimes, even in close competitive fights, if you're going to give the vote as narrow as perhaps it is to one fighter, then you can get extremely wide scorecards. However, every round for Uradayev seems somewhat harsh on what Muldachev brought to the table tonight.
Again, like we say, look, he wins the fight, and I wouldn't argue that he won it, of course. But when you have a fight that's nip and tuck, like you say, every round you can just you go in just every round by one extra punch. So at the end it's a landslide because everyone's close. But there wasn't every round there there was at least a round that was clear for Muldachev.
Well, the first,
at least.
First particularly. There you go. Uradayev it is who gets the nod. Not just the nod. He gets a very firm nod of the head, and he remains unbeaten. And Muldachev, I suspect, will get more work on the back of that for sure, given what he put into it. Terrific effort from him. So that was our first contest of the night. Next up, we move to middleweights. 8 rounds coming up.
Time for middleweight division bout. And to the red corner of the ring, we invite the boxer representing Angarsk, Russia. Please welcome Vasily Stikkiy.
Call me the Joker, more like Casanova Hova, cause when I'm on the mic, dude, it's so
Vasily Stikkiy, it is who makes his way to the ring, and he comes into this on a bit of a high after a sensational knockout victory last time up. A fight that he was losing, a fight that he was perhaps not expected to win, but he produced a one-punch knockout off the back foot under pressure, and that kind of response marks you out, doesn't it? It gives you something as he makes his way to the ring. So looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the table on the back of that performance. As previously, he's lost a couple of fights by relatively wide margins.
His opponent, representing a blue corner from Shaiken, Kazakhstan. Please welcome Abay Tolesh.
And here is the 26-year-old Abay Tolesh from Shaiken. And just the one blemish on his record. Barry and I commentated on that last summer when he lost a split decision to Saperbay Aidarov. It was a really good competitive fight. It was a fight that, through spells of it, it did look like Tolesh could have and should have won it. But I think great credit to Aidarov on that occasion, because he found a way to make his skill set and his boxing technique work for him. And in the end, it was boxing that night that was slightly the undoing of Tolesh. He's recovered from that narrow defeat with a win back in December. That was when he retired his opponent in 3 rounds, and here he is out for the first time in the new year.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 8th round of middleweight division. Introducing you first and fighting out of the red corner, representing Angarsk, Russia. Professional record of the boxer: 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 wins by way of knockout. Please welcome Vasily Stikkiy. His opponent, representing a blue corner, professional record of the boxer: 6 wins, 1 loss, 4 wins by way of knockout. Fighting out the Shaiken, Kazakhstan. Please welcome Abay Tolesh. Referee of this bout, Paul Tuzinde.
Gentlemen, I want to see a clean fight from both of you. You should obey my commands at all times, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, I wish you the best.
Referee with his final instruction, so here we go. This one at middleweight. It could be another good fight, this. There's no doubt that Stikkiy, he can be beaten for speed and ability, I think it's fair to say, Barry, but well, he could dine and live off that punch that won him the fight last time.
Yeah, sure can, and also it just shows, it gives Tolesh an awareness that however far ahead you might be in a contest with someone like Stikkiy there, you have to be disciplined. But I think Tolesh is disciplined. I think the criticism you get of him is that he can be, like a lot of Kazakh fighters, one-paced. They all box within themselves. That's what it seems to be sometimes. He works well behind the jab. He has a nice strong left hand, but sometimes you're always looking for that just a little bit extra.
And that seemed to be the story of the fight when you and I called against Aidarov, because he looked terrific early on and also in other spells of that fight. And you felt he had the measure of Aidarov, and Aidarov found a way to win that fight that night.
And that's sometimes when you stay at a nice even pace, which is good for you, of course, and things work for you. But then sometimes fighters will just grit down and work through it, or they'll figure you out, and then you're stuck in that mode, and it's hard to get out of it. So yeah, sometimes you just need to just change the pace up in your work now and again. A little bit of acceleration here and there, and a little bit more variety sometimes.
Good
he
shot.
has all the tools in the bag, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's tried that chopping left hand a couple of times and just missed with it. Oh, there's the dangerous hooks that can come from Stikkiy.
Good right hand, short right hand there from Stikkiy. A little clash of heads there for the both.
Yeah, this could be interesting, this fight.
Got to be careful with that long right hook there, but because of that right hand there. When you're throwing that wrong right hook and you lean, you're jumping in, your feet off the floor and your chin's exposed, it's lined up for that long right hand. Stikkiy can let that shot go. Actually, that's at the minute, that's the only shot that he's really looking for, isn't it?
I know he's 1-2 lost to Stikkiy. As ever, he's been quite hard matched. He's been in against unbeaten opponents, losing both of those over 6 and 8 rounds by relatively wide margins, it has to be said. But you can see that he's tough and solid enough, and he's got the, particularly with the hooks, the potential to whack. The knockout we saw against Kotsakar last time, Barry as well, he didn't even fully complete the punch.
Well, he was getting pushed back a little.
Yeah,
bit,
his nose was blooded, and yeah, it looked like he was in a bit of bother.
But again, it's in the exchanges, and that's where you have to be neat and tidy, and maybe, you know, beat him up from the outside first if it's possible, and then, you know, then he's reacting to you rather than, you don't want to be getting exchanged with a guy who obviously who can whack. Really slow walk back there, isn't it, from Tolesh back to the corner?
Maybe just taking his time, and sportsmanship there from Stikkiy at the end of the round as well. He did weigh just above super middle for that bout back in January, so it was only last month he was in action as well, and you can see he is hard fit, getting down just inside, what was he, 158.7, so comfortably inside middleweight tonight. Pair of them actually inside 159 pounds. I'm always loath to say comfortably about making weight, because you know Barry is a former world champion, that for most people there is no such thing. And also, as we go into the second round of this one, in terms of making weight, sometimes when fighters are seemingly inside the margin by a way. I always remember Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Pacquiao, of course, and you know, eyebrows raised when he did come in significantly under the weight as well, and you think, crikey, what does that mean?
Sometimes they've struggled too hard to make it. Yeah, it's a funny thing, because they've tried too hard, or they've been, you know, doing all the things you shouldn't do to make weight. Saunas and you like it, and you're not eating. That's the thing. Sometimes then that weight will drop a bit more than what it should have. Making weight, it's more of a science to it now than it ever has been before. Good shot there from Tolesh. That's better, keeping the shots long and working behind the right hand jab.
Yeah. And also in that cameo though, Barry, you saw the moment where he held his feet and he was there for a counter hook. You've got to remember to, if he's not back out a distance, to have those hands up to be prepared. I think Stikkiy is dangerous when they're exchanging.
Nice little right hand there from
short
Stikkiy.
Right, yeah, sort of
crossed his feet over, didn't he? But
he missed with the first couple of punches, but he was committed to it, Barry, wasn't he? And he ended up with a right hook to the chest that put Tolesh off balance.
That's the sort. Tolesh is doing the right thing. He's throwing the jab, then he's stepping behind it for the left hand. But I think he might be stepping a little bit too close, because when he throws that left hand from the southpaw stance, Tolesh, he's always in range to get caught himself, isn't he? Obviously, he's in with a guy with a longer reach than him, so that's always a danger. But you know, Stikkiy, being competitive, and there's always an air of danger around him, possibly. He's being totally outboxed at the minute.
And the fact that he's got a guy coming forward as well, I think that's forcing Tolesh to think more about his boxing, which I think was certainly something that was absent in that narrow defeat, and it was a narrow defeat to Adarov. Oh, he's willing, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think
he is,
the shtick, that's the thing, and I don't think he cares what's coming his way. You can see he is a bit rugged, and the technique is absent often in those exchanges, but he's willing to keep throwing shots wherever they come from.
See, a 2-2 record is misleading, because he's lost half of his fights. You tend to think he's a journeyman, but he's only lost 2 fights. I know he's only had 4, but I mean, that could go on to be, he could go on to be 10-2 in a minute, or he could go on to be 2-10. But it can be misleading this early in his career, because he's obviously competitive and comes to have a go. And there, even though he lost that round clearly, at the end of the round he started to find a home there for his shots, and was trying to push Tolesh back a little bit.
Here we see some of the action. Nice left hand that from Tolesh.
Yeah, but not getting too close after he threw the shot. That was the important thing. He wasn't crossing his feet over and getting close, and heads weren't clashing. He wasn't, inviting then the right hand of Stikkiy. Pushing off the back leg, but then having enough strength to bring those hips and shoulders back after he throws the shot. The water in the corner, and it's also water in the middle of the ring. It's terrible. First thing the referee should be doing is ask him to wipe that up, because that's a hazard waiting to happen there.
Moving on to the next, into round 3. I think Tolesh just needs to be switched on at all times here tonight. Because I think that Stikkiy will be willing to trade with him at all times.
He got such a long reach stick, but he doesn't know how to throw a jab.
Nice combination there from Tolesh. Just had to think sharp, both with his feet and his hands. I think he's a little bit of a danger man if you're looking at Stikkiy just as an opponent going forward. If you're a promoter, a manager, a matchmaker, and you're thinking about Stikkiy, he's good in many respects because he can be outboxed and he's beatable, but he's always going to have a go, and he'll throw punches in exchanges. So there is always just that imminent danger from him.
And if he can take a shot, if he holds a punch, then that makes him a bit of a test.
And potentially a nightmare. Maybe the head's coming close together again.
You got to cut that, haven't you? Just in the corner of his right eye.
Right
there,
eye,
Stikkiy,
yes.
But Stikkiy doesn't use the jab. That right hand is just a pouring out there. You see it there.
That was better from Tolesh there with a feint, wasn't it? Getting some good experience into Tolesh. He's travelled around a bit. He's already fought in Dubai, out in India once too. And this, just his 8th pro fight in less than 2 years. A couple of months off, being 2 years as a professional.
That's good. Good left hand there from Tolesh.
Yeah, I don't know if he was off balance or there was a bit of balance, like unbalanced because of the shot. But once again with Stikkiy, he's gonna throw back with you. He's got great attitude. He backs himself.
And this is if he thinks you've hurt him or he's getting a bit more success, it's been a decent round again for Tolesh. Is not just to be boxed within himself as he has in the past. This is where he needs to now, just not taking any silly bits, but slowly just put his foot on the pedal, turning the screws a little bit, adding a little bit more pressure and a bit more weight on the shots.
Good round for him. He's certainly doing it on the scorecards, Tolesh, but Stikkiy is in there, giving it. Checking on some of the action. I think for most of that there's better boxing from Tolesh.
Well, again, it's certainly at the start of the round. It most definitely was. He was neat. He was taking a little half a step back, leaning back to make things avoid as the round went on. Though, of course, I think Stikkiy tried to exert a bit more pressure, a little bit more success. It was only one winner of the round, but yeah, the Tolesh things don't go into his shell as such, but just just comfortable with coaching sometimes. That's the criticism I have.
Tolesh firing out at the start of the 4th round. I think having someone come towards him is, I think it's, whether it's helping him stylistically, Tolesh, or just in terms of his mindset tonight, but I think it's helping one way or another.
He's got a lovely little jab there. I mean, you see it there, you know, something I've noticed before, his jab's been pretty good and sharp. Just like to see him maybe double it up now, a little step behind it, and they'll go the head, the body, and then sort of push Stick back a little bit and give him a little bit more to think about.
He's missing a lot, Tolesh, isn't he, when he's trying to throw the combinations? Either he's going up over the shoulder of Stick, or one way or another, he's not quite got the radar on song yet.
Sometimes because when you're boxing a fellow southpaw, I think that he's not used to having the range is different, isn't it? Of course, especially for the left hand, you don't need to get so close. I think with an orthodox fight, you need to get a little closer because obviously you're fighting further away. So with another southpaw, you want to get over that lead hand, which is closer, so you don't need to take that bigger step after you throw your jab.
Mind you,
like there.
Over here, Barry, there's no shortage. Says southpaw sparring in preparation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Southpaw dominated tonight on the card.
I think that's world boxing in general. You know, before, you know, southpaws were so rare that when you saw one, especially at world level, it was a Michael Moore he was the first. I think he was the first heavyweight world champion at southpaw heavyweight world champion. That was that 95 maybe 6 something like that.
And now this is a rare chance to see Tolesh on the front foot, which is generally where we've seen most of him in his previous fights. Oh, he just backed off there, Stick.
Shot. Sort of looked away as well, didn't he? Like, I don't know if it's the corner or...
Yeah, I don't know if it was the eye or whether he was just resetting as if to say, right, well, if this is the way we're going to do it now, fine.
Or was he doing a Billy Joe Saunders Lemieux? Little look away, like making Tolesh miss.
And that's as you say, Barry, you picked up on it earlier. When he's over the front foot and square like that, Stick, those are the times where he should be punished by Tolesh. That was a good example of it. Behind the scenes, they're getting warmed up for the action still to come. Target Shaiken. Looking forward to seeing him. Barry and I called his debut last August. And he's much lighter now, much slimmer. And I think stylistically we're going to see something a bit different from Shaiken. I'm looking forward to calling him against Pavkov. That's a real test. First big test for him. Here, now by Tolesh, in shot. Is comfortable enough, I think, tonight against Vasily Stick. Here we are into round 5 of 7. Mind you, it was 7 of 8 when Stick produced that knockout right hook of Mtk Kazakhstan. He was unbeaten in 10 coming into that fight a month ago.
But to be honest, he's trying to be competitive here, Stick, but let's be truthful, it's all one-way traffic most of the time. He's not hammering Stick here, Tolesh, but he's outboxing him. And he's picking his shots really well. He's boxing as good as I've seen him. There's an air of danger around Stick, but actually he hasn't really shown any danger. We're commentating because we feel that we're commentating like this might be something, so we're sort of trying to edge our bets, aren't we? He looks dangerous, but actually he hasn't shown anything really.
Not yet. He just lands a right hook there though. I think it's the intent. It's not so much the background of that spectacular knockout last night that might feed into it, but it's just his attitude and the way he's prepared to keep throwing punches in those exchanges that you just wouldn't be surprised if he managed to clock one on the jaw of Tolesh. So far, he's not really been close to doing that, but it's not through the want of trying.
But he's forced Tolesh to work. And I think that's been good to see. Good
Oh,
shot.
what a shot! He's missed with that left hand so often tonight. Back up after only 3 seconds, Stick. You wonder if he should have just sat that out for a few seconds longer. Has he recovered from it? Terrific shot that was. Referee being ultra safe and careful. Gets him to walk back, and Stick is walking forward. Oh, he's in trouble. Legs unsteady. Another big left hand goes in from Tolesh. The referee's at some distance away from the action here, and I think he might need to get a little bit closer because Tolesh cannot miss, and he's on very unsteady legs. Another left hand. Referee should have been in there several seconds ago, and now he waves it off belatedly.
Well, where was the referee? First of all, great finish there from Tolesh. Now, again, just getting that distance. When you get that distance right, and it took him a while, didn't it? He hit with a few good left hands, but that was perfect distance. He pushed off the back leg, didn't get too close to the front foot, so he wasn't overreaching like he had in the past. He hit him right on the end of that long left hand. It's a beautiful shot. He goes over, gets up too early there, obviously, Stick. But even though he wasn't looking like he was going to fall over, he was half turning away when he was getting hit. That's got to be a sign for the referee to step in. At like 3 or 4 different points, there was a time for the referee to step in. That was, again, we've seen this in the past, that was 1950s refereeing.
Yeah, I think just, listen, you and I are, I'm a commentator, you are the former world champion, but I think just technically, if there was a referee commentating alongside us tonight, the first thing I think the referee would say is, he's 4 feet away. He was too far away from the action. You don't want to get involved in the action. You don't want to be interfering with a fight. You can't even see the referee in shot there. That's how far away he was from actually being able to get in should it go 1-2 punches too many, which it clearly did on that occasion. But great credit to Tolesh. He missed so many times with the left hand tonight. In fact, he really wasn't putting it together, but he did there.
It was a great, the knockdown was a great left hand, full-blooded as well. You've got to give Stikkiy his credit for getting that, because that punched right through him, that shot, that left hand, right through him. And he took it, he went down, but he took it really well.
That's Sultan Zarbek, terrific young, unbeaten Kazakh prospect. I'm friends with Abay Tolesh and congratulating him. It was a terrific finish from Tolesh. It was terrible refereeing in between.
That was good for Tolesh. It was literally just saying that Stick has made him work, and he's looked better for it. As I was saying, he looked better for it. He lands with that left hand, puts him on his backside. But it was good to see him under pressure and see him perform, probably the best he has so far.
And we so often, Barry, don't we? We talk about the difficulty for young fighters finding their own style, or finding the right style for them early on in the career. And maybe Tolesh has found it tonight with someone who was pressing him. We've seen him trying to be that in attack previously, and he's not looked as good as he has tonight. Maybe it was just about matches and opponents and styles. Anyway, good work from him. Let's get confirmation of it.
Referee Tuzinda stopped the bout in 1 minute, 56 seconds of the round 5. A win by knockout, Abay Tolesh!
Yes, it's a knockout win. It's the 5th in 7 wins now for Abay Tolesh from Shaiken. That's Beirut, Smirnov country, of course, isn't it? Former world champion. He lost it to Hopkins, didn't he? Smirnov once upon a time, a few years back, but from the same neck of the woods as Tolesh, who just starting out on his journey, and that is now 7 wins along the way for him, and one of his best performances to date, and hopefully learned from the Aderov narrow defeat last summer. And you wanted to see him go through the gears, Barry, and he did it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's against a guy again who we sort of said who looked dangerous, didn't actually produce anything of danger, but he always looked dangerous and looked to fire back. He wasn't afraid to throw when Tolesh was throwing, and that made Tolesh have to be sharper than we've seen him before. and he made him work harder. And he showed that when he's forced to put his foot on the pedal, he can. And it was a great finish as well. He hit him with a good shot. And then when he got up, which was, he did well to get up there, Stick, to his credit. Once he was up on his feet, Tolesh never let him off the hook at all. With pressure, he was right on him without wasting any punches. It was a good finish. And the referee wasn't great, but either way, it was a good finish, good result from Tolesh. And again, it shows now that he can be moved up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a welterweight division. And to the red corner of the ring, we invite the boxer representing Russia. Please welcome Evgeny Pavkov.
Looking forward to seeing what Evgeny Pavkov can bring to the ring tonight. What he does bring is stacks of experience. 18 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw in there, 20 plus fights, and Shaiken's only had the 3, so he brings all of that, and the fact that he's been 10 rounds on several occasions too, so he's got the ring experience. He's been in with guys of a certain caliber like Michael McKinson, who's unbeaten in 19. Well, that was, although it's got to be said, knocking on for 2 years ago. That was in the July of 2019 in Brentwood. I was ringside that night and saw him in action. So he's got that kind of toughness, pedigree and experience, and he'll be looking to bring all of that to bear tonight here in this welterweight contest over 8 rounds. First fight in a while though, does that play a part in the way that it actually plays out?
To the blue corner of the ring, we invite the boxer representing Mtk Kazakhstan. Please welcome Tolesh Shaiken.
I'm looking forward to seeing Tolesh Shaiken. Only had the 3 fights. Barry and I commentated on his debut last August in Kazakhstan. That was up at super welterweight. He weighed 153 on that occasion. Same when he was out a month later. And then in December, he was down to 148 3/4. Inside the limit at 146.6 tonight as well. So he's dropped 7-8 pounds in a matter of months. He did look a bigger guy when we saw him a few months back, and he has streamlined himself, and I think stylistically because of that we might see a slightly sharper, faster Shaiken than we did on his debut, where he was good to watch. I think it's fair to say, Barry, you liked a lot of what you saw on that night.
I did know, because he's strong, his punches are strong, he's physically strong, but also one thing I did notice with him, and it might be because of the weight, when he threw his punches, he held his feet and was their target to be hit. Because someone like Pavkov, that would not be a good idea, but if he's lost a bit of weight now and be more mobile, he might be moving after he throws his shots, moving on the target to be hopefully a different animal, because what he does good, he does very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 8th round of welterweight division. Introducing him first, fighting out of the red corner, professional record of the boxer, 18 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 13 wins by way of knockout. From Kunkabayev, Russia, please welcome Evgeny Pavkov. His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, professional record of the boxer, 3 wins, no losses, 2 wins by way of knockout. He is a finalist of Youth Olympic Games, representing Mtk Kazakhstan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tolesh Shaiken. Referee of this bout, Bojan Iskakov.
Боксеры, слушайте мою команду. Правила не нарушайте. Пожали руки. Удачи.
On with the show then. This one's scheduled for 8, 147-pound division, the welterweights. I think getting down to his right kind of weight now, the talented amateur, now 3-0 pro Talget Shaiken in the lighter shorts, the white gloves, and looking for. Oh, he's walked onto one, Barry, in the first 30 seconds. Literally walked onto it.
We said it could have been danger. It was just a short left hook, wasn't it? There, just Shaiken there, just taking a step. Well, I didn't see the footwork. I wonder where he put that southpaw right foot in the middle of the stance there of Pavkov, and that's where he get the left to go over the top. Couldn't see the feet.
It looked like he was just trapped, wasn't it? Everything just froze momentarily.
But when you come forward with a punch, which he did, if you know, especially with his hands are low coming forward, if that foot's in the inside position, when he throws that lead hand, then you're always going to be open to the hook. That's a better movement from him there, taking that foot on the outside and then spinning round after you throw the shots. Recovered well though, to his credit, but it just shows again, we said about Pavkov, he can be right in front of you and be just made a measure or a nightmare, because he is willing to let his punches go.
And what I was just about to say was, I'm interested to see what kind of style Shaiken is going to go with tonight against this more experienced opponent.
But to be fair, though, he's dipped the legs of him, but he's recovered and he's still trying to go about his work here, Shaiken. So that's a good sign from him.
And Pavkov went after him, didn't he? He tried to close the gap, get to him in the corner. And
he gave Pavkov just the telegraphing our shot there, Pavkov, and having to take a lovely right hook there from Shaiken.
A little nod there from Shaiken. I think he loves a fight, this fella. Shaiken, he's got the boxing skills. Certainly the amateur pedigree and experience. You see, those, particularly from the aerial shots, you can see how close the feet are. They're stepping on each other. I think Shaiken's just having a little bit of difficulty getting his foot to the outside, or maybe Pavkov's just doing a better job of that.
Yes, you know, they're just through it, not there, but just the exchange before, when he threw the jab, he had to step inside. I'm sure Pavkov, he's not a devastating puncher, but every shot he throws is heavy.
And yeah, he's recovered well. He's got back on track after that early scare. That looked dramatic, didn't it? And well, so early on, but he's responded well. Shaiken, very well. Just going back to the kind of southpaw versus the orthodox, whichever way you look at it, Barry, can it preoccupy you in terms of your thoughts about getting your foot into the right place to be able to throw the shots properly?
You can't just constantly think about that, because just thinking about your feet, you're going to get hit with the most important thing is punches coming your way, obviously, but you have to train for it, of course, and learn to maneuver your body to the outside. So for Shaiken, when he throws, he has to take a little bit of a step more to the right than he would normally, and the same with Pavkov, because he's the orthodox, take a step to the left when he throws that jab. But you also want to go the other way, because you want to put some weight on that back foot to feel the power in your power punch. Right hand obviously with Pavkov, left hand for Shaiken. But yeah, you can't over it, but you have to just almost, and just with the body in front of you, if you're a natural thinker, just with the body in front of you, you'll almost do it automatically, because you'll realise that you have to get your body on the outside to get the punch. Your punch has got to be on the outside coming in, not the inside going out. That's what will happen. But it's more important about the hand, the power hand behind you, than the right hand or the left hand, because you don't be squared when you throw a left jab and a right hand, you don't be squared onto their power punch coming forward.
Really good start to this round.
I dragged that on, didn't I?
I like this as a matchup. I really do like this as a matchup. And I suppose also in each contest you have to cut your cloth, and in this one you'd forgive Shaiken perhaps from thinking, him and his team thinking, right, this guy's been out of the ring, you're talking about 3 or 4 months of 2 years. We want to ask questions of that in some way as well? rather than necessarily just box and stick to what we're doing. But it's a bit more of the aggressive Shaiken that we saw on his debut tonight.
Yeah, he is, and that might not be a bad thing. I think, maybe sometimes a guy who can whack a bit, putting him under pressure means he can't push off his back leg for any sort of power. They like to punch, being a forward momentum punching, of course, generate more power. So you put him on the back foot and put him under pressure. But that was it, really. Again, Pavkov, he looks dangerous when he lets his hands go, but he's only really landed with one real significant shot. It's just that shot, no dip the legs of Shaiken.
Oh, nice body shot there from Shaiken. It's a good match, this really is. And Pavkov, Barry mentioned the fact that he can bang. Yes, he's got those 13 stoppages in 18. He is road tested, no doubt about it. It's great confidence in Shaiken. They're putting him into this sort of contest in his 4th fight.
Good shot again there from Shaiken. Good work, lovely double up there, with that left hand as well there, Shaiken.
Yeah, it would be easy to admire and appreciate and enjoy your work there, but he rammed home the point, didn't he? He's almost got a little answer though, Pavkov.
Good from Pavkov there, because Shaiken tried to throw that uppercut there with the left hand, way too far out, and just got pipped there with a little right hand from Pavkov.
It was just a little dart off to the side. We saw loads of that on his debut as well from Shaiken. Really good footwork, darting to one side and the other. It's a good test for him tonight, this. So, 2 rounds in. I suppose with the amateur experience, you may have heard the MC in the introductions mentioning that a medal at the Youth Olympics, that was in 2018 when he only lost by majority decision there, getting a silver medal. That was to the more experienced Russian Ilya Pavkov. Of course, it was in Russia, that tournament as well.
But it's a good test. He's on top, and he's won except for that blip in the first round. I still think he didn't have to win the round, and he's 2 rounds up. But he's having to think, and that's not a bad thing. He's with the guy who's going to continuously be dangerous throughout the contest, so that'll keep him nice and sharp. And who's boxed at a high level, of course. Michael McKinson, who's obviously a world-ranked fighter with the WBO, and even though there was only one winner in that fight, he kept McKinson honest.
Yeah, and he'll do exactly the same tonight. He lost a couple of times back in 2017, but both to good operators. One was for a Russian title, that was at 140 pounds, and he also fought against an unbeaten Armenian who was 17-0 or thereabouts over 10 rounds as well. So he's got good experience and fought at a decent enough level as a pro. And of course, Shaiken has that stellar amateur background to build on.
Maybe waiting a little bit too long here, Shaiken, but I can understand why he doesn't want to overcommit. But at least he's taking the centre of the ring. He's trying to put pressure on Pavkov, trying to stop Pavkov from doing too much of that. Getting too much success and starting to feed off it. So he's constantly keep him moving backwards.
Yeah, he's really thinking about it, isn't he? Shaiken, which is good to see.
That's the worry with 2 southpaws, when they both commit with the left hand, the hand furthest away, when they both commit with their left hand and both throw it, the risk of clashing heads is really, really, really high, I should say, sorry.
I like his attitude as well, Shaiken. He enjoys his work. And he's probably enjoying a lead on the scorecards here, but want to think about it en route. A bit less from Pavkov in this round. Shaiken maybe just controlling things.
I think because Shaiken's waiting a little bit longer in this round to let his hands go. I think Pavkov was, was having more success, sort of countering some of the work of Shaiken. But now Shaiken's sort of a little more thought behind. That's a good jab and a little turn to the right as well there from Shaiken, because he's a little more thought to his work and taking his time a little bit more. Then that means Pavkov just is waiting too long and having less success. Two good right hands, left hand, sorry, went to the body and then finishing off to the head.
Yeah, very much on the front foot and controlling the action in that round. Well, under normal circumstances, doing the rounds would be no bother at all. For Pavkov, he's been 10 rounds on 3 occasions. Almost went the 10 rounds in that Russian title fight as well. It was in the 10th that he was stopped. The only time he has been stopped in his career.
But he was kept. See the back there. So they will commit to the left hand. The clash of heads is always a risk there with two southpaws. But he was kept quiet in that round there from Shaiken, who controlled it, controlled the pace, and I thought that was a comfortable round for him.
Into round 4. The latest leg of the adventure, the journey, the story for Talget Shaiken. And in just his 4th fight too. I think so much better for him than the contest last time as well. Eventually stopped or pulled out of the fight at the end of the 3rd. His opponent Maxim Cherbanov, who's only just got a winning record, and he was getting a bit scrappy and messy as Cherbanov was just surviving. He's got a very, very different opponent in him against him tonight, Shaiken, and I think it's a much better fight for him and for us because of it.
Just seen Pavkov just smack a left hook around the gloves there of Shaiken, then he clubbed him with the right hand, and you could just see Shaiken just beckoning him on for some more.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, Barry. I like his attitude.
Yeah. That's better. Just you mentioned earlier on, just a little feint in his work. Pavkov's trying to counter everything he does. You see it there, that fast left hook, which caused all the problems in the first round. But Shaiken a little bit wiser to it now and willing to wait a little bit longer, and throwing those feints in will help him with mounting these attacks.
He's quite strong in those exchanges up close, Shaiken. He's been held on to. He doesn't mind trying to use that strength to wriggle free, to maybe just bend the rules. Oh, nice shot. All his weight was on that right side, and he came back with the right hook.
Took it well, Pavkov, and he didn't quite stiffen his legs, made him sort of stop a little bit, didn't it, for a second in his stance, but it's a lovely shot. That's nice. See that, we talked about this, that little acceleration in work. Just change your pace of the punches, all of a sudden he rattles up a nice little fast combination. I'm enjoying this a little bit more though. He's not fleet-footed Shaiken, but a little bit in and out with the feet though. He's a little bit in and out with the punches and just a slightly higher work rate.
Yeah, and quite efficient with it too. He's not wasting much in terms of punches, but also movement too.
I would say you got to fire off that. When he block, he catches a lot of shots on the gloves and the elbows, but he needs to fire off that as well. Shaiken, just block and fire. Good round for him there, though, again.
Yeah, he's looking good and getting better. I've not yet seen that kind of almost Ricky Hatton style movement to one side or the other. He has got that in him, Shaiken. But all you want to see from a young prospect at this stage of their career in a fight like this is in getting better and making progress throughout. And he's certainly done that last couple of rounds.
That was a good little right hook there. We just squared his feet up and full-blooded shot there. And Pavkov didn't go stiff leg, but just stopped him in his tracks for a second. But again, he was good though. I think he was busy but patient with his work, and I think he was much better there, Shaiken. And he's made it a hard couple of rounds here for Pavkov.
Into round 5, there was just a little shake of the head from Pavkov at the end of the previous round. I think that was a sense of disappointment. I think he knew he'd not only lost that round by some margin, but that Shaiken had taken a good deal of control in that particular round.
He seems to go into a nice little rhythm here, doesn't he, Shaiken?
Yeah, and he completed that combination, really stepped in with the second shot. Looks like he's just starting to pick things up. As Barry said, finding a bit of groove. Can Pavkov do anything about that?
Well, what he's doing now, he's doing something before he punches, whereas in the first couple of rounds he was on a standing start, if you will, and just looking to fire off. No, and he hasn't got lots of talent in his work, but now he's dipping down or he's rolling the shoulders, doing something before he throws. And with someone like a sharp, obviously guy who can punch, counter puncher like Pavkov, who's waiting for you to throw, them little movements means it's harder for him to read your game.
Different fighter though in a lot of ways to the one we saw on debut, isn't he?
Too right, yes, yeah. He's literally like a guy who's going to be like on his heels walking forward, just bull-like, and then a little spin round the sides would have been a surprise, but he was there in front of you all the time. And now it's a bit more guile to his work, isn't it?
Ooh, nice right hand there from Shaiken too in that close exchange. And he's been quiet last 2.5 rounds now, Pavkov. He's not been allowed to really get anything off. This has been controlled by Shaiken now.
Well, again, like I said earlier, he can't read any of the work. He can't read the Shaiken setting up any attacks, and that means his game then of being a counter puncher is taken away from him. So he has to be able to be the guy moving forward. And then you got a guy here who's willing to meet him head on. So. And a guy who's sharper and better timing than you, so when you throw, chances are you're going to come second best. Oh, not there though.
No, nearly landed with his own right hand there to Shaiken in that exchange.
But to be honest, most of the time for Pavkov, he's only having success after Shaiken throws. So Shaiken has to keep that discipline of throwing and moving.
Really controlled and stepping things up round by round, Shaiken.
Алдыңнан кішкене биікте болса, сен биік тұрасың, ол сыртынан бір тық биік кетеді. Сен бір удармен ұрып отыр, кішкене қол көтеріп жүрсің, бұтақтан қойып қойып кішкене. Нешінші раунд мынау?
Animated instructions there in the corner of Talgat Shaiken. Little nick maybe above the right eye. Ever so slightly a graze, a scratch for Pavkov, who's been quieter, not being allowed to get into it last 3 rounds. So we move into the 6th.
Speaking of quiet, the difference in the corners, there was Shaiken's corner giving Molly advice in the world, and Pavkov's corner saying, "There's your gum shield."
An explosion and change of stance there from Pavkov. That was better from Pavkov. Cops a body shot for his trouble. Shaiken went 6 rounds on that debut last August. Scheduled for 8, of course. Whether that's going to be in his mind at all now. There has been a sort of control and efficiency about his boxing last few rounds. So, and he's the one kind of controlling the tempo and rhythm and pace of it.
He is, and again, it's all because just those little movements before he throws the punches, just offsetting Pavkov every time. Pavkov's trying to be a little bit more proactive here, and that might just play into Shaiken's hands.
He's met head on there, Pavkov. Actually a better start to the round for Pavkov, but Shaiken has kind of gone back to where he was. Oh, good jab there too from him.
You got him. I know it's hard to establish the jab against the southpaw, but for Pavkov, you know, he has to know if he has any ambition to try and force the pace a bit and try and double up that jab, or certainly if you can touch him with the jab, double up with the right hand to push when he pushes him back.
Oh, good combinations there from Shaiken once again at the end of the round. Well, Pavkov had a go at the start of the round, found a little bit of space, landed a couple of punches, and then Shaiken just took over, as he has done as this bout has progressed. We're winding up for our top of the bill, still to come. Server Uradayev, the latest in what were a sequence of opponents for Kamshabek Kunkabayev for our top of the bill. Here, it's going to be into uncharted territory for Talgat Shaiken into the 7th round, but he looks in control. And up next, Yevgeny Smirnov. You can see warming up. Will take on Nurtis Ashbanov. Barry and I have seen a few times. That's for a title at lightweight. Into the 7th then. And the first time in his pro career for Talgat Shaiken, who had only completed 10 rounds prior to coming into this tonight. Of course, plenty of that amateur pedigree and background to build on, to draw on.
I know it's Pavkov holding on when they're close, but the referee hasn't won Shaiken once for pushing away with the inside of the glove, which is awful, because if you've got a bit of a cut, that can rip it right open, and that's something that you can't do. But whenever they're close, it's the first thing he's doing and getting away with it constantly.
Yeah, I said he's got a few tricks, isn't he?
Yeah.
always holding the head when they kind of interlock and overreach and get too close. And that body shot worked for Pavkov, but the shots that you're calling Pavkov landing have been fewer and far between as this one's gone on. It's a little use of the shoulder himself there, Pavkov.
We said in the last round, I think it's right. I think Pavkov has to push the pace. It's a good jab there from him, but he can't be reacting. He can't be the counter puncher now. He has to be the guy trying to force the pace, push Shaiken back.
And that shot that he landed in the first 20 seconds seems a long time ago, Barry.
It does, and he haven't looked dangerous since about the round halfway through, round 3 maybe at maximum, really. But I think you've got to give Shaiken his credit for that he's he's been a little bit more measured in his work, and
he's taking control of it rather than anything else. Absolutely.
Body shot there from Pavkov, but not enough in it to trouble Shaiken. This is what's really stunted any ambition that Pavkov has. That having to wait, the patience in the work of Shaiken, just little feints and little stutter steps with the front foot.
Yeah, and there's the good amateurs, you can move quicker, but not everyone's a Lomachenko. And no. This is a big step up. There's a really good performance from Shaiken. Yeah, really good stuff. This he is in control of this, and he's bossing it actually. Counting down to our top of the bill, the cruiserweights in action, a 10-rounder. I wonder if it's going to go 10 rounds though for the WBO Asia Pacific title. In just the third fight, talking about moving good amateurs quickly, Kunkabayev had been scheduled to fight Belfast Stephen Ward, of course. Unfortunately, Stevie wasn't able to take up that engagement. I know that he still wants it. You fight anybody at the moment, won't he, Big Stevie? He's fighting man-mountain MMA fighters, calling out just about everyone. Kunkabayev's not on anyone's list right now, but for Big Stevie it is. Sounds like maybe if he comes through that, they can get that on further down the line. That's our top of the bill. Here we're into the final round. And Evgeny Pavkov in the black and white trunks against unbeaten target Shaiken in just his 4th pro fight. And as Barry said previously, he really has been in control of this from at least the 4th round onwards, if not slightly before.
Yeah, he's sharp, but that half a stone of weight, that's whatever it is, 7 or 8 pounds of weight, whatever he's lost, he looks sharper for it. He's still got loads to do with his game, but you'd expect that at this level. But this is a guy who's boxed and not won, but been competitive at a decent level already, and so in Pavkov. So this just shows how quick they are moving Shaiken on.
Slight grimace from him. I think he might have taken one in the back of the kidneys as they whipped round in the exchange there, Shaiken.
That's good. When he throws a jab, just takes a little half a step back. They're just almost encouraging Pavkov to come forward so he can throw that left hand. Oh, nice shot.
So often, Barry, you and people, we talk about the kind of distance between fighters and being able to control that, but just look at Shaiken tonight generally, and he gets through. I think maybe you're more off balance, Pavkov, than anything else, but a big left hand there from Shaiken, who is trying to turn things up. He can see the winning line, perhaps feels he's got plenty in the tank and wants to put an exclamation on it.
I think Pavkov takes a really good shot and resilient, but that long left hand hurt him. And I think that for Shaiken now, without going too gung-ho, got to keep this pressure on here now. Minutes a long way to go in a round one, but you've got to keep the pressure on.
I like his attitude anyway. I said before, he's got a little bit about him as he gets through with another long left hand, Shaiken. But you know, the way he kind of wrestles, holds his own up front in the clinches, the way he beckons his opponent on with the rare occasions where he does get clipped out. It's so easy to think of, you know, these talented southpaw amateurs as maybe just being stylists.
Yeah, sure.
And I think he's got a bit more about him, Shaiken.
Also, he got caught in the first few seconds of the first round, didn't panic. Got caught, dipped his legs, clearly hurt him, didn't panic. Just regrouped really quickly, and then just tinkered his game. Oh, good work there from Pavkov. Tinkered his game a little bit and adapted, you know, in the fight. And it's been in so much control. It's been as one side of the fight you can find, really.
Yeah, and to literally do it within a couple of rounds, no credit to his boxing IQ and his skill set. Because it really is from the maybe midway through the third onwards where he's controlled that fight, and that's a terrific performance. And when it's confirmed, as we suspect, that will be a really good win, the first notable win of his young career. There's Ashbanov. He's got the first title fight of his professional career coming up. Well, looking back on the action, it was, I think, a performance of quiet, controlled authority from Shaiken tonight.
I think what you'd call it is a mature professional performance. I think that's what you'd call it for a young man, and I mean a real young man as well. Let's not forget. I think it was lovely. You know, he was patient in his work. You know, he wanted to go out there and just be the bully. And he got clipped really early. Then he started to use his intelligence, the feints, the patience in his work, clean shots, and I thought he was really good. He was really good. Always aware there was a possible danger coming back, but not really ever shying away from committing himself to throwing the shots either. So I think I think he got the balance just right. I think that was a really good performance. And he's a guy who's, I know he's been beaten, but he's boxed and been competitive at a very decent level indeed. It's a fantastic display and really good result.
And from a young man, as Barry rightly said, very, very young man to be producing, I think, a performance of that kind of level, and indeed the way he went about it. Let's get confirmation.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard for decision. Judge 1, 72-80. Judge 2, 72-80. Judge 3, 73-79. Win by unanimous decision is a blue corner, Talhat Shaiken.
Yes, he won every round on 2 of the 3 scorecards and all but 1 on the other judges' scorecard, and you couldn't complain about that whatsoever. Talgat Shaiken, that was really impressive, I think, in the circumstances. And as Barry said, he's a young man. He was 19 when he made his debut last August. We called that fight, the pair of us. He turned 20 a month later, so, you know, 20 and change in terms of years. A very, very young man. That was a performance beyond his years, I think it's fair to say, tonight.
It was, because especially when you feel like you're physically strong, you can bang a little bit, which you can in all points, and you get clipped. You either panic and disappear, or you bite on our gum shield and you lose your head and go for it. And he did neither. He got back to his boxing, picked his spots really well. Realised he had to wait to throw the shot. He had to make this guy impatient, and he did that really well. And but still keeping enough aggressiveness in his work to be dominant. And so I thought he was really good. His offense was good, defense as well. Little adjustments in the feet. And yeah, for a young man at boxing at this level now already, they've stepped him up. It was too far or not enough. And I think for me, it was the right step up, and it shows that he's on the right trajectory to a title level.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a co-main event of the evening. Let me invite the boxers fighting in the red corner. Please welcome Evgeny Smirnov.
Well, he's been out of the ring for some time. December 2019, the last time he was in action, Evgeny Smirnov, but he does bring plenty of experience to the table. 17 fights into his career, even allowing for that hiatus, but he is and has been inactive. He's also stepping up in weight too. He was fighting at feather, super feather. Now he's up at 135 pounds. He's certainly tall enough, you'd say, perhaps to be at this weight, so maybe he is now where he was supposed to be, but we'll see how that plays out. The inactivity, the moving up in weight, just two interesting subplots as he takes on an unbeaten and talented fighter.
To the blue corner of the ring, we invite his opponent. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nurtas Ashbanov.
Unbeaten in 10 so far, Nurtas Ashbanov. And Barry and I have seen quite a bit of him. He was based over in England with Angel Fernandez, and his first 5 fights in 2018, 2019 were in the UK, 3 of them at the York Hall, famous York Hall. Barry and I commentated on Ashbanov quite a few times, so we've seen plenty of him. He can blow a little hot and cold. There are times he looks mustard and you think he's really going to catch fire. There's no doubt the skill set and the talent is there. He's relocated in the current climate back to Kazakhstan and looking to move on into this title contention. There's no doubt about it, the talent and the skill set is there. Hoping to see him put it all together tonight with this WBC Asia Continental title on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mtk Kazakhstan, in association with Mtk Global and Top Rank, proudly glad to present co-main event of the evening on ESPN Plus in America and on IFL TV worldwide. This is a 10 rounds of boxing fight for WBC Asia Continental Lightweight title, and sponsored by Kazakhstan, Round 10, Gold Sapa, Buka. Ladies and gentlemen, this boxing event is sanctioned by Kazakhstan Professional Boxing Commission. Your supervisor of the bout, Maria Muhamedjan. 3 judges ringside, Baurjan Iskakov, Irbol Nurushev, Dulat Bazarbayev, and inside the ring, in charge the action, referee Paul Tuzinde. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthems of 2 countries. Anthem of Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Republic of Kazakhstan.
Altın gün asmana, altından dalası, yerlikten dastana, yerine kalaşır. Yeşildin yerdigin dalgama şahtı boy, namusun bermegen kazanan attı boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 10 rounds of boxing for WBC Asia Continental Lightweight title. Ladies and gentlemen, referee and judges are ready. Boxers are ready. The millions fan of Kazakhstan and all over the world. Are you ready? Introducing it first, fighting out of the red corner, official weighing in 61 kilogram, 200 gram. Professional record of the boxer, 13 win, 1 loss, 3 draw, 3 win by way of knockout. Representing Pervomaysky, Russia, please welcome Evgeny Smirnov! His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, official weighing in 61 kilogram, 200 gram. Professional record of the boxer, 10 win, no losses, 4 wins by way of knockout. Representing Kunkabayev, Kazakhstan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nurtas Ashbanov!
Gentlemen, I want a clean fight from both of you. You should obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, I wish you the best.
Co-main event coming up then, scheduled for 10 rounds at 135 pounds. And Nurtas Ashbanov are the heavy favourite for this one in the gold and light trunks. Evgeny Smirnov of Russia, buoyed by hearing his anthem previously. You can see, no doubt, that Ashbanov is the bigger of the two men. He's the one who's been fighting at this weight and above, but I think there's no doubt that the best performances from Ashbanov, still relatively early on in his career, have come when he is on or under the weight. Looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight, Barry. There's no doubt, and we've seen plenty of him from ringside. He's got the skills, no doubt about that.
Yes, in abundance. But again, like we said already tonight, he boxes well within himself, and that's a great thing to be able to do, of course. But sometimes he does it for too long a periods where he especially in an era, in a climate of having to sell yourself. I think it's very important for him to not so much go through the gears, but show us a little bit more at times.
And I think you can probably see from that overhead shot, one thing you'll see from Ashbanov early on, the technique and the technicality of him. And look how easy he gets that right foot outside the lead left foot of Smirnov. And that he knows exactly what he's doing in the ring. I want to see him put it all together tonight.
So, Woody, when you have a fight, no, it's still early days yet, but when you have a fight with two boxers who thinkers, that they do sometimes spend more time posing and thinking than they do actually throwing punches, because it becomes a chess battle more than a physical affair.
And one thing we saw in those early fights was that left uppercut from Ashbanov. That's a vicious shot when he lets it go. But working behind the jab. And a fast right hand there from Smirnov, just as Ashbanov was almost sort of licking his lips, wasn't he? I think he was enjoying himself through the first couple of minutes. He was finding his groove.
Well, as we were talking, Smirnov landed with that fast right hand, so it's a punch that'll work for him. And
there he goes with it again. Just remind us, because Ashbanov, as cool and relaxed as he looks, sometimes that can appear too relaxed. And there was a couple of fast reminders from Smirnov not to rest back too easily tonight. But what you also saw through that first round is how easy it almost comes to Ashbanov.
it does, but it's almost like you'd only do it if it's easy. I think if you'd watch Ashbanov, then you would pretty much say you have to make him work. You can't just walk forward because he'll pepper you with shots and you've got to walk into that tremendous uppercut. But you've got to put pressure on him. You've got to make him feel uncomfortable, make him work hard and see if he can produce the goods under pressure, because he's always dictating the pace. I'm not sure whether Smirnov has that particular style to implement that, but I think at some point the way it's going now, it's going to be cat and mouse, and you might think the bigger guy with the longer reach might have the better of that in Ashbanov.
Into round two, first professional title fight for Nurtas Ashbanov. Did get 10 good rounds in the last time he fought. That was in September. He actually weighed 140 pounds on that occasion, so he'd effectively up at super light. His previous two fights were at sort of 135, 132, and they were two of his better performances. But here at title level, on the weight,
again, Ashbanov just flicking that jab out, just hoping that Smirnov commits. But Smirnov not doing that. No, every time Ashbanov moves forward, he's just taking a little step back. So he almost keeps that front foot there, doesn't he? He moves that back leg back, Smirnov, and then just drags the front leg with him. It just allows him the opportunity just to pounce back into action if there's a gap that Ashbanov may leave.
Constant movement from Ashbanov.
That's a good shot. All the other shots prior in this round have just been barely touching the target, have they? Just been peppering Smirnov. That was a nice little right hook there, lead right hook from Ashbanov.
That's the left hand go. And again,
Time comes out.
Yeah, and that is atypical of Ashbanov.
That's better there from Smirnov. There, just a throw. Every time Ashbanov throws, that's his chance, isn't it?
And again, a couple of responses from Smirnov. Yeah, little bits of quality there from Ashbanov. And it'll be interesting to see now how it develops through the third round and beyond. To what extent Ashbanov is going to be content to keep this kind of pace, or whether he's going to build on it round by round, because we saw him let the left hand go a couple of times in that previous 3 minutes.
Well, you don't want to rush anything, and you have a good look at your opponent, of course, and he knows he's in with Smirnov. He's in with a bit of a thinker, so you can see that. So again, he wants to make sure you got his range right, and the angle of attack is going to be correct before he lets his punches go. But also, you've had a good look at him now, and you think you could slowly start applying a bit more pressure.
There's Kunkabayev, start of the show, top of the bill, fighting for his first title next up. Into round 3. Ashbanov probably controlling the first 2. Both landing body shots in the opening seconds.
He have the first round, to be fair, could have been, I give it to Ashbanov, but it was so void of any quality.
Ooh, nice left hand though. He closed the gap, Smirnov, didn't he? Gets his own body shot there, but he closed the gap and he found a straight left hand in his path.
That was good from Smirnov there. The way when Ashbanov threw the body shot there with the left hand, he just clipped him with a little clip with the right hand. Not enough weight in the shot, but the right idea. And like I said earlier, he's got to throw. When Ashbanov throws, he's got to block and counter. Got to throw after he's thrown every time. That's good from Ashbanov there, and a constant change of direction as well with the feet. Makes it difficult there for Smirnov just to cut him down, plant his feet to throw his own shots to set himself. Nice.
Oh, lovely uppercut. Yeah, and that's the question I asked in between the second and third rounds is how much he's going to build up. Now he's maybe going through the repertoire. He's starting to show some of his stuff.
You just got to be careful not to, there's a long way to go potentially, another 7.5 rounds, but not to coast. If it is getting comfortable for him, it's just Smirnov's trying to apply a bit more pressure here, but Ashbanov doesn't look any distress or duress yet. So if it's too easy that he coasts, and that's what you don't want to see. I mean, it's fantastic to be able to do that, but I mean, you want him to show the potential that people have been talking about, that we've seen glimpses of in the past.
Yeah, no doubt. Looks here like he's just starting to build blocks.
Boxing well here though, good, lovely movement again there. He's moving the feet well, but then just widened the stance there just to get a little bit more lateral movement, upper body movement to avoid some of the shots there from Smirnov.
Nice right hand try from Smirnov. When he walked onto one, they squared up, didn't he? He caught one there, Ashbanov, but otherwise he's gone through the repertoire. Another couple get through from Smirnov. That was lovely, wasn't it? He teased him, had the defence, came back, made him miss, countered.
But a good right hand in response there from Smirnov.
And he's responded all the way throughout this round, even though all the quality has come from Ashbanov. Yeah, maybe just starting to bubble up here. Lots of quality throughout that third round from Ashbanov, and just when it looked like he was building momentum, Smirnov came back and landed a couple of shots of his own in retaliation. Not enough, I think, in any way to win the round, but just to dissuade Ashbanov.
Well, the best part of Ashbanov's game so far has been the movement, constant change in direction, staying nice and low, and using that upper body movement's been really good for him.
What are the keys for Smirnov here, Barry? What has he got to do to maybe slow the footwork of Ashbanov?
Oh, good shot. It's the footwork. You've got to you've got to cut the ring off. So you've got to take that foot over to the left when Ashbanov moves to the right, and then shuffle across to your right when he moves to the left. Obviously, it takes time to cut the ring off. Hitting to the chest, stop that upper body movement as hard to the chest, and when he gets close, if you touch with the left hand, double up with that right hand as well. Just start putting pressure, and I think you've got to make Ashbanov work hard, make him panic a little bit, get close if you can, try and rough him up. I'm not sure if he has the physical strength to do that, and he's more of a thinker, isn't he, Smirnov?
Just again, he might be getting outlanded, outskilled here, but there's always a little response, and he's landed another right hand. There's one to the body as well from Smirnov.
Yeah, and even though his record suggests he's not a puncher, you can see the weight in the shots, can you? They lack a bit of snap, maybe, but you can see there's some power in those punches. You'll feel them.
Yeah, just the 3 stoppages
good
in those 13 wins, but a concerted effort in this fourth round from Smirnov.
But every time Ashbanov throws that right hook, left hook, sorry, southpaw, that left hook to the body of Smirnov, he gets clipped with the right hand every time.
And also what you said in the first round, Barry, about making Ashbanov work. Smirnov is trying to do that in this round.
Oh, nice shot. Lovely.
He's getting through more regularly in this round, Smirnov.
That's good there from Smirnov. First of all, Ashbanov getting way below the waist, which the referee should warn him about. You can duck and dip, but you can't dip below the waist of your opponent. Unless you're Hector Camacho, of course.
Oh, lovely body shot there from Smirnov too. Less foot movement from Ashbanov in this round.
Good response there though from Ashbanov with that left hand. Or Penal Whittaker, I should say, with the getting low.
Ashbanov definitely been forced to work and fight more in this round.
There's always a risk, you know, when you try to apply pressure. There's always a risk that you're exposed to more shots, and you're an easier target to hit, of course.
Leans back a bit with the head sometimes, Ashbanov, doesn't he? That was well, more result throughout that round for Smirnov than the previous 3. And Barry talked earlier on about, you know, if you're taking on Ashbanov, you want to make him fight at a pace he's not comfortable with, put him under pressure, ask him a few questions. Smirnov tried to do that in that last round.
He did, and I think he didn't win the round, and he had to take probably too many shots coming forward. He landed with a few body shots, we've seen here, had a bit of success. But Ashbanov going back to the corner had the gum shield out of his mouth before you can see him here. No, he's not. was struggling for breath a little bit. So in that regard, you sort of the tactics working there in that round there for Smirnov.
Into round 5 then. And I suspect for Smirnov in the blue shorts it'll be a case of same again. Nice straight jab to the body.
That's lovely though, isn't it? Lovely bit of work there from Ashbanov there.
Yeah, and his movement's good, and he moves both ways, doesn't he?
Well,
when Zelfa Barrett fought Kiko Martinez a couple of weeks ago, Barry, he was almost constantly moving to one side,
sure,
wasn't he? I think Smirnov's, whatever's happening on the scorecards, and in terms of the pattern of the fight, there's a couple of different questions. I think Smirnov's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's doing at least some of the right things to at least keep Ashbanov quieter or give him a chance in the fight.
Lovely fast left hand there from Ashbanov, right on the pipe there from. He took it well there. Smirnov just had to go back on his heels a bit.
Rocked him straight back, didn't he?
And that's the problem when you're going forward and you're set and you're trying to keep pressure on. Now you will be open to those fast counters, sharp shots. Maybe trying to keep the head moving as you are coming forward. Throw a couple of feints in there as well. But I think that's the only way he gets close to winning the fight. Good shot.
That is a good right hand. Took it well, Ashbanov. There's been just a few more creaks and openings, hasn't there, through the last couple of rounds for Smirnov to exploit. The hands are low from Ashbanov. He relies on the feet being quick.
And again, there's a little short right uppercut there from Smirnov.
I think Smirnov's right to punch with Ashbanov. That's another good body shot. He's landed that right hand to the body on several occasions in this 5th round.
He's been a constantly moving target here, Ashbanov, but the punch output is massively reduced, hasn't it? Maybe that is just slowly starting to feel the pace.
Yeah, maybe. Hands are getting lower. Body shots from Smirnov maybe playing a hand or a role in that too. Interesting. Well, he's maybe got himself into the fight to some extent, Smirnov. I'm just posing a few questions of Ashbanov. He's again sucking in deep breaths. Doesn't look like he's about to collapse anytime soon. You see that left hand from the previous round. But there are openings and gaps that's starting to appear.
See, in those shots there he took didn't rock him back, but those, when you take a shot full on, it's not taking a really good body shot. When you want to wind you, it drains your energy a little bit, and all that. And obviously constantly have to move. And just the physical presence sometimes when someone chasing you down can make you panic a little bit and your breathing just a little bit erratic. So Ashbanov needs to just start trying to control stuff now with that southpaw jab.
I think Ashbanov's really shouting to motivate himself there as well, maybe to pick things up, interestingly. One thing about Smirnov, he might not be able to match Ashbanov for footwork or for skill set, but he can for toughness and energy, and also the ability to go the rounds. He's been 10 rounds half a dozen times himself.
A good shot, a second time with the right hand there in this round.
Yeah, he stepped right into it. You can see the power's not there, but he's landing some of these flush. He keeps chipping away. You just wonder.
We talk about rhythm in your work, and like you sometimes say flow, and you can see it now, can't you? In Smirnov, whether he's he's not winning the fight clearly, but he might have won that last round, and he's doing well in this round. But you can see there straight away, whatever happens, he's back right on it. Little bounce to his step, trying to keep that pressure on.
Yeah, and what he is at least doing is making Ashbanov work, he's making him think, and he's also reducing his output. And all three of those, the combination, gives him a chance.
Do you know what, that might, see what he did there, Ashbanov? That might be Billy Joe Saunders' greatest legacy. That thing he did against Lemieux.
Yeah, there's so many fighters have done it since. They make a fighter miss. It'll still be Billy Joe's. You still own it.
Yeah.
And
that's what I mean. That might turn out to be his greatest legacy in boxing. That iconic move that he did. Or slowly becoming an iconic move.
I suppose what people will be wondering as well, with the potential for a big Canelo fight looming as well, is that going to turn out to be his defining moment, his defining fight, or is that still to come?
It's the biggest fight of his career, isn't it? Canelo's the biggest fight for anyone's career. It's good from Ashbanov there. There's 2 or 3 left hands on the bounce.
Nice left hand there from Ashbanov. He's found a bit more, hasn't he, through the second half of this round. Made to work, and not doing much through the early part of this round. Maybe making it slightly difficult to score. So second half of the fight, well into it now.
Енді ашылып жатқан. Енді ашылып жатқан. Көрдің ба? Иә. Басқа шай. Шаршама. Енді ашылады екінші дырқан. Көрдің ба? Мынаны істей бер, Сен мына жерде ұстама. Мынаны істей берсе, тығасың. Істей бересің де тығасың, иә ма? Дымда істей алмай қалатыр сол кезде. Ударың өте. Спокойненько, там откручивай темп.
Into the 7th then. I tell you what, there'll be other fighters at 135 pounds who might look at Ashbanov and say, I'd love a crack at him. Do you know what I mean? As talented as he is, as good as his footwork is, there are definitely things there that I think there are other fighters in the division who'd love a chance to test themselves to see if they can exploit. Put the pressure on him, see how he reacts.
Yeah, but still long to go. No, good shot there from Ashbanov. I think he struggled for pace a little bit in the last couple of rounds, not dramatically, but I think there was an argument that he lost the last 2 rounds, and he's looked tired going back to the corner in the last 3 rounds. He might get that second win now, and he'll probably need it. If that's when implying that Smirnov will keep that same intensity to his work. I think also what's lacking with Smirnov with Ashbanov, as good as he is, the movement, the shot selection at times, there's nothing on that jab, ever. So even though he's looking for the bigger shot, that just means your opponent can get closer quicker because of that. Because the only deterrent is the stronger left hand, but that's going further travel. You can see that coming easier. And the jab needs, not all the time, but you need to have a solid jab in your armory.
A little cheeky uppercut there from Smirnov. And there's that uppercut we were talking about way at the start of the fight from Ashbanov. A little bit low there. Smirnov kind of waves it away and keeps coming. Oh, he almost hit him on the knee again. Ashbanov.
And again, can't keep warming him forever. They're going to need the referee. Oh, good work there from Smirnov. And again with the jab.
Yeah, clipped him again, and kind of scuffed him with the right hand too.
Ashbanov got to stop throwing that left hand to the body from out the range like he is, because every time he throws, he gets clipped with the right hand. I said it earlier on, but it's still prevalent right now. Get closer, I'll get your right foot on the outside if you're going to throw it, so it goes through the centre of the guard. Been a great effort, haven't it, the last three or four rounds here from Smirnov.
Yeah, another body shot gets in from Smirnov. At times he's been outclassed, no doubt about it, but last few rounds he's kind of built up ahead of steam. Another right hand to the body goes in, little uppercut as well from Smirnov.
I think he's having a really good round again, isn't he? He's having to take shots, but he's been able to walk through them and land with the better quality for me.
Yeah, well, the previous round Ashbanov finished well, but I think the first couple of minutes had gone to Smirnov, and it could be that's 3 on the bounce for him.
It is for me, actually. I think that I think the fifth round was relatively close, and I just gave that to Smirnov for the last 2. I think he's won.
And they're getting the gloves laced up and ready for our top of the bill. And that is server Uradayev. It's a late call-up. He only fought 7 days ago, actually, would you believe? But it was a one-round disqualification, so he comes here kind of match fit and ready. And although he was, I think, 3rd in line to fight Kunkabayev, he's the one that gets the shot. Down the stretch now, into round 8. And notice Ashbanov, you never quite know how it's been scored. We're thinking maybe 4-3 in his favour, but
they've gone with the first fighter tonight. He's 9 rounds up.
Indeed, who knows? But certainly what Smirnov has done is he's made it interesting, and he's asking questions, both off Ashbanov, but also for us to enjoy, to watch unfold.
And I think also, I think as a viewer nowadays, we're more critical of people losing rounds than ever before. Just for losing a round or 2 or 3 rounds in a 10-round fight, or even 4, doesn't mean you're not a good fighter.
Nice little left hand there, short left hand from Ashbanov, and another one.
Again, we want people to have tests, but we don't want them to lose any rounds or look rubbish at all. They've got to look great in every test they have, but tests are there for a reason. I think this is a really good test, and a fight that theoretically he could still lose. Body shot.
Another body shot goes in there and another one from Smirnov. He's not blinked at them yet, Ashbanov, but the output has slowed over the course of the last 3.5 rounds.
What's been impressive here from Smirnov is he hasn't. I thought he had to do this with pressure and also with throwing combinations. When you got a guy technically better, you have to make him rush his work by throwing lots of shots, and he hasn't done that. He's still been picking his shots quite well.
Yeah, nice. There you see it, lovely. Ducked under, spun away.
I think it's Ashbanov who's got to start letting his hands go a little bit now.
Yeah, well, the output's dropped. There's no doubt about it. And I think what's happened through rounds 5, 6, 7 and now into 8 as well is where he was comfortable on the back foot before. There is an element of him being forced back now.
Yeah, but if you got a solid jab, he stops Smirnov there, and then he can move. Stops him before he gets too close, because he has a lack of a solid right-hand southpaw jab, then that means he gets too close, and then it's harder to get away there with the movements. The movement's got to be sharper and quicker, which means you've got to be fitter and more alert. And in the later rounds, in a fight where you've been pushed for pace, then that's not always in you.
That's better from Ashbanov. It was a left hand before that too, Barry. What just seems to have happened in this round is Smirnov's not quite closing the gap, not able to, and I think that's because Ashbanov has made a miss a bit more in this round.
Yeah, good little left-hand counter there, wasn't it, from Ashbanov in the corner.
And maybe just the effort of those 3 or so rounds taking its toll on Smirnov now. Yeah, maybe a little slip there at the end of the round, but Ashbanov, he got himself together there. And I wonder maybe maybe the effort that Smirnov had put in previously, that was just starting to take its toll. Maybe that just bought Ashbanov some space and time.
Again, see throwing that left to the body, gets no reward from it. There, that's the class, that's the better work from him, yeah, right there. That's the better shot, over the top rather than underneath for Ashbanov. But yeah, I think he boxed better in that round. Was allowed more space or produced more space, and yeah, blowing hard, but maybe the end of it. But that second wind, and you can see the finishing line now. Mentally, you can maybe just, there's an end to it, and you can push a little bit harder. And he's still in the fight here, this Ashbanov, but Smirnov, but he has to push it in these last 2 rounds.
And into the penultimate round then. And maybe Ashbanov just bought himself a little bit of daylight, not just literally in the fight, but also on the scorecards, courtesy of that previous round. Nice jab to the body there from Smirnov. And again. Now a little jab to the body. Tactics right here from Smirnov. And another one. Good response that from Ashbanov. If you were simply counting punches, and that's how you were scoring a round, if you were simply counting punches, Smirnov would be about 5 or 6 up with a minute and a half to go. Add another one. 7.
He's following Ashbanov around, though. He's not cutting the ring off, is he? That's good, lovely work there from him, though.
Yeah, fast 3-punch combination. Again, landing shots. Another right hand to the body. Good round this for Smirnov. He blocked that, Smirnov.
Yep.
Back comes Ashbanov again. It's a real kind of battle of will, skills and tactics, isn't it? And again, you see every time he switched on Smirnov there with that right hand, he's right up against his jaw, and you can see him leaning his cheek away to the other side, down to his left, to make sure that he's away and cushioning that shot should it come.
Well, that's the unreal shot, from that distance he has to worry about. Good body shot there from Smirnov.
And he clipped him with a left hook as well. And again from Smirnov, manages to back him on the ropes, letting his hands go. Ashbanov trying to meet fire with fire, but probably the biggest round of the fight from Smirnov so far. And I'm not going to be surprised if the judges have got Ashbanov clear here. I've got it him in front 5-4.
Yeah, I got it the same way. 5-4. Maybe a different method, but I got it the same way. So yeah, for 5-4 for Ashbanov. And he needs a big finish now. But you know this kid here, Smirnov's going to come out all guns blazing. And I think Ashbanov should use that. He's got to be active. He should use that. And that's spinning off, that pivot off the front foot, and then firing combinations after he's made Smirnov miss will be very important in this last round.
I said as they were making the ring walks that he's got so much talent. He's got the skill set, Ashbanov. I think the phrase I used is he can blow a bit hot and cold. You can kind of translate that whatever way you want, but I think we've kind of seen elements of that any which way tonight.
Well, he boxes within himself, so he's a bit lazy. And I think when you fight lazy, you train lazy. No, I mean, he trains hard. I mean, you're sparring, everything's about you. Just do enough because you're technically good, but sometimes you need to be able to throw those punches in bursts of attacks, sustain an attack, sustain punches, and be able to rally. And if you don't train for that ever, then how are you going to know if you can do it? And he says me who's never trained anyone in my life, of course.
He's beat it button now, but boxing-wise, all the way to a world title. These guys fighting for a title themselves. We think it might still be up for grabs, but that is out of our hands, thankfully. Given the pressure and focus and criticism of judges and referees these days. I think you have to give so much credit to Smirnov for the way he's forced the fight, the way he's forced Ashbanov to answer a few questions, the way he's made it uncomfortable for him pretty much all night.
He hasn't. I think in the first round he didn't want to fight this way. He wanted to box as well, because I think I think by trade he is the boxer, but I think he realised that not putting weight on the front foot, not trying to edge forward, just trying to box from a normal stance. There wasn't going to be enough against Ashbanov. He was going to outbox every time, so he's become the aggressor, and he had to give. He got a box for a few rounds, but the constant pressure is. Certainly took his toll here on Ashbanov.
And he changed it up, didn't he? In that sort of third round or so, Smirnov, because at that point it looked like Ashbanov was about to get let loose. He was starting to let the left hand go. He was starting just to go through the gears for him. But Smirnov nipped that in the bud, and certainly he's made the fight interesting. And also given us, I think, a few questions about Ashbanov going forward.
Yeah, good shot there. Nice little lead uppercut there from Smirnov, and then a right hand to follow. And Ashbanov just picking single shots, and he's moving well. And the shots he's landing, the throwing are landing, but he's not throwing enough of them.
Yeah, that was a really sharp 1-2 from Ashbanov. He landed both of those.
That's good there. There's a 1-2 and a little lean off.
Still switched on there, Ashbanov, wasn't he? He expected the right hand, and he was already moving his jaw and face to the other side to deflect it, to miss it.
Good right hand there, though, from Smirnov. Oh, good left hook.
Clipped him again there, Smirnov, as Ashbanov came to fight in the final seconds. Ashbanov punches the air. He thinks that first pro title is going to be his. And this little fella, up in weight, fighting for the first time in about 15 months. Gave him something to think about, gave him a fight.
He really did, because after that first early round, he decided I'm going to be the aggressor now throughout, and he did. And at some points, especially like around 4-5, especially around 5-6, he sort of, you can see he got in his groove, and and he was comfortable whatever was happening, even if he had to brush the pace. But even when he got caught, he was always sort of comfortable in his work. Ashbanov, no, again, like always, pockets of absolute beautiful quality in some of his work, and he boxed really well in stages. It's a close fight for me. It might not be close on the judges' scorecard, see how they see it, but you do tend to think as well that Ashbanov just sometimes, again, just waits too long to let his punches go. You've got to be a little bit more active with the hands.
Спасибо огромное за поддержку, я вас очень люблю.
Well, the gap between them in terms of the skill set and the punches landed in the early going was marked and notable. The gap literally closed.
But again, though,
from sort of 5, 6, 7, 8.
What a great learning fight, because you see there that it's a great learning. If he gets to win, Ashbanov now, which he very well might, then he knows what he has to do. Now he's boxing 10-round fights, and also that they can't rush him too fast. They can put him up again, but I don't think you can chuck him up another level or two. No, I think he'll stay here for a little while, learn his trade a bit more, if he gets the win, of course.
And there's his old gym mate, Sultan Zarbek, with the baseball cap back to front in there. There's the belt that he's hoping to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10-round contest, we go to the judges' scorecard for decision. Judge 1, 90, 100. Judge 2, 91, 99. Judge 3, 94, 96. And new WBC Asia Continental Lightweight Champion, and still undefeated, Nurtas Ashbanov!
He's done it. Ashbanov, he wins his first professional title. That'll go round his waist. Back home later on tonight. And it was wide on 2 of the cards. I think the 94-96 was probably more in keeping with how we saw it, but the early work, the cleaner work perhaps, of Ashbanov rewarded every single round on one of the judges' scorecards, which makes it slightly difficult to translate, particularly through rounds 6, 7, 8.
It's wrong, I know, like we keep saying this, and you've got to continually keep saying it. People don't know how to judge a fight, of course, or to score a fight, and you can have 12 close rounds, that can be 12-0. But there were clear rounds there for, again, like we said this already tonight, for Smirnov. And I'm not arguing Ashbanov won the fight. I had a draw as it goes, and you might have as well, or when you might have won to Ashbanov. But it was a close fight, and there was clear rounds that he'd lost, and clear rounds that he'd won. To have it 190, that judge might not as well have turned up, and that's a shame, because that's a good. We're talking about that now rather than his kid's good win in a very, very close fight, which you'd see again, and he might move on from this now. He'll learn a lot.
Here we can see some of the action. He was smooth. He found his rhythm early, and then it was the change of play from Smirnov. He probably had to box out of himself tonight in terms of what he wanted to do. It looked like he reverted to plan B, and that plan B worked for him in spells. And
it was a fight, 2 halves, wasn't it? Because the first half was, for me, was all Ashbanov except for the 5th, and then the second half then it seemed to be mainly in favour from my point of view from Smirnov, because the pressure that he put in the first round and all the good work and effort that Ashbanov did put in the first half of the fight paid the price and paid his toll a little bit in the second half. But I think Ashbanov, again, I think he can still be a better fighter than he is. I think he needs to be a little bit more active. He needs to train in that way. That's all. Throw in a bit more shots. He's a good fighter, but he moves on from this. I think the judges' scorecards were horrendous, but I don't begrudge him the win. He was close enough, and he gets in. Congratulations to him for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for main event of the evening. Let me invite the boxers representing a red corner. Please welcome Server Uradayev.
Was a late call-up for Server Uradayev, Uzbek born, based in Russia, 6 foot plus, and fought just a week ago. Well, that was his first bout for 8 years. He was formerly fighting at super middleweight. He was 200 pounds a week ago, and he hardly had a shakeout on that occasion. That was a first round disqualification in Russia, so no problem for him to get back into the ring. He's accepted the late call-up. He was supposed to be Belfast Stevie Ward, who was looking forward to that fight, still is, if they can get it on against Kunkabayev. Stevie Ward was ready and willing to go at Kunkabayev. He had to pull out. He's hoping he can get a rematch, or that the match rescheduled further down the line, and right now it sounds like Stevie will fight just about anyone, so he had to pull out. Then the opponent who was scheduled in had to pull out yesterday or thereabouts, and it's Uradayev who has stepped up at very, very late notice. He's only lost the once, never been stopped. Very similar to the guy that Kunkabayev fought on debut, so he's got the experience. Is he big enough?
Ladies and
Talented
gentlemen,
enough? That's the question.
Welcome to the blue corner of the ring. We invite Kunkabayev. Kunkabayev.
Well, stellar amateur Kamshabek Kunkabayev, now 29, and picked up amateur medals in World Championships for absolute fun, and he was kind of a who's who of talented amateurs, or that he generally only found one too good. Picked up silver medals in 2 separate World Championships. Real talented fighters like Jalalov and Majidov were the only guys that were too good for him on that occasion. And he actually finished runner-up to Jalalov in a couple of Asian championships as well. But he looked the part on debut against a guy with way more experience than him, and he dominated that from start to finish, and it was an early stoppage. Body shot, left hook to the body has been one of the punches that has kind of looked like his calling card early on. When he fought last time, made his debut in August, he fought 4 months later in December. He did win on that occasion, but he was asked a few more questions and he didn't look quite as potentially special as he has done on his debut. So the question is tonight, how's he going to look, and what are the questions, if at all, that Uradayev can ask him?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mtk Kazakhstan, in association with Mtk Global and Top Rank, proudly glad to present the main event of the evening on ESPN Plus in America and on IFL TV worldwide. This is the WBO Asia Pacific Cruiserweight title, sponsored by Kazakhstan, Round 10, Gold Sapa and Buka. Ladies and gentlemen, this boxing event is sanctioned by Kazakhstan Professional Boxing Commission. Supervisor of the bout, Mariam Muhamedjan. 3 judges in ringside, Erbol Nurushev, Paul Tuzinde, Din Muhammad Abaykhan. And inside the ring, in charge of the action, referee Baurjan Iskakov. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthems of 2 countries. National anthem of Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Republic of Kazakhstan.
Altın gün asmana, altından dalası, yerlikten dastana, yerime kalaşır. Yeşilden yerdiğin dalgama şarkı koy, namusun vermegen kazanan ordu boy. Orpakbaş olaşkan kem baytak şerim var. Berlige şarıskan tevelsiz yerim var. Kar salgan vakıtta mengelik dostunday. Bezde gel vakıtta bezde gel vasınday.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 10th round of boxing for the WBO Asia Pacific Cruiserweight title. Ladies and gentlemen, referees and judges are ready. Boxers are ready. The million fans of Kazakhstan and the world, are you ready? Introducing it first, fighting out of the red corner, he stands 185 centimeters tall, official weighing in 90 kilograms, 600 grams. Professional record of the boxer, 23 wins, 1 loss, 9 wins by way of knockout. Fighting out the Russia, please welcome Server Emurlayev. His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, he stands 191 centimeters tall, official weighing in 90 kilograms, 700 grams. Professional record, 2 wins, no losses, 2 wins by way of knockout. He is a 2-time Asian and World Championship finalist, captain of Olympic boxing team of Republic of Kazakhstan, fighting out the Kizilorda, Kazakhstan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kamshibek Kamsha Kunkabayev.
Боксеры, слушайте мою команду. Правила не нарушаем. Пожали руки. Удачи.
Latest opportunity then to see Kamshabek Kunkabayev unbeaten in 2 so far. First thing you note, Server Umerlayev, who's fought largely at super middleweight, much the smaller man, looks a bit fleshy too, Barry, so that the big question is, can he stand up to the power and the intimidating presence of Kunkabayev, who we called on his debut?
Well, he's come out firing, and that's a positive sign, isn't it? And he's come out, maybe he's going to give it a go. That's for sure. We just got to be a little bit smarter with this attack. He doesn't walk into anything silly. That's all. Kunkabayev, you know, not just a big puncher, not just a good boxer. His timing's really good.
Yeah, we were impressed with him on his debut. He was pretty much allowed to do everything he wanted that night. His opponent boxed on the back foot, and eventually he caught him with a left hook to the body. He threw that same shot when he became the first man to stop Sergei Radchenko. First time a Ukrainian had been stopped. I think he's been he's been well matched, doesn't he? He's been put in fights where potentially he can look good, and I think this is another one against the 35-year-old Uradayev, who had that 8-year hiatus from 2012 when he lost a WBA interim world title fight. On that occasion, he was so furious with the split decision that went against him. He just walked away from the sport. He said, "That's it. I've had enough."
Wouldn't be the first.
No,
that's for sure.
But he's come back, and 2 fights in a week. Be careful what you wish for.
Well, he came out on the bell and he threw a few punches and he tried to be a little bit aggressive, but obviously missed. Kind of jumped into attacks against Kunkabayev, but yeah, it's been a little bit quiet ever since here.
But he does have an intimidating presence, Kunkabayev, as well as a stellar amateur career to call on as well. You look out for that left hand. He throws it really well against the orthodox fighter, right under the right elbow. That's been a feature of his 2 fights so far.
That's good for him there as well. You throw that left hand, but it's just at the chest there, just trying to slow the movement down here of... Oh, just missing with that left hand again there.
And to say he's been well matched, and what I mean is two of his 3 opponents so far, including Uradayev, those 2 opponents had really good records, fought at a decent level, won all bar 1 off their fight, so they'd only lost, and this guy in an interim world title fight. So on paper,
yes,
they look great, although they don't necessarily tell the whole story.
This is the perfect example. Uradayev, only 1 defeat, isn't it? But hasn't boxed for really 1 fight in almost 10 years.
Busy keeping out a danger in that first round. Uradayev with plenty of footwork. But as ever, with the guys and girls with the amateur pedigree, and particularly good amateur pedigree like Kunkabayev, as you heard from the MC, and as we said during the ring walk, so he's fought in finals and Asian championships, which are as good as, with all the talent on that side of the world, this side of the world, they're as good as Olympic Games and World Championships, and a couple of silver medals in those, couple of silver medals in World Championships as well. 2017 in Germany and in Russia a couple of years ago too.
Well, he didn't do a lot, Kunkabayev, but what he did, he made this fella work hard. Constant. I don't mean by throwing lots of punches, but just constant movement. And for a big guy like that, that's going to be hard if as the rounds progress. Uradayev, obviously naturally smaller, but I might be a little bit faster fleeted but having to move around like that and under that intimidating pressure of Kunkabayev is going to be a struggle.
And you can see he's going to try what he can do, Uradayev. So much the smaller man, as you can see, but he's using that and his footwork.
Just see Kunkabayev there though, can you quicken the feet a little bit, just to close the gap a little bit quicker.
Got a shake of the hands and the shoulders, trying to loosen himself up, try and flow, find some rhythm, Kunkabayev.
It's a lovely jab. Also just a little step with it as well, didn't he? There's that left hand underneath the elbows that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that was more of a straighter shot, wasn't it? But he really does find he's very, very accurate with that. And he does have that sort of intimidating presence. Strong right hand to the body. That seemed to perturb Uradayev.
Well, what he does with that jab, because the jab's so heavy from Kunkabayev, it's not a knockout punch, but because it's so heavy, it almost stops you from countering it, because you literally it's putting you on your heels every time. Whether it hits you on the chin or the chest, pushes you back. A little bit of the alley shuffle there from Uradayev.
And
the similarities end there, though.
Yeah. Well, let's hope this year we're going to get a chance to see more boxing, because there's quite a few of these really in the heavier weights, sort of heavy, super heavy, and thereabouts. There's quite a few fighters, top quality amateurs from this part of the world, often who fought against each other, like Kunkabayev. I mentioned Jalilov. He's unbeaten in 7, I think, as a pro now. Bakatir Jalilov, the Uzbek, Majidov, Tashenko as well, sort of Olympic and world champion from Russia as well. There's quite a few.
Who's cruiserweight now, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. There's quite a few of those guys who knew of each other, fought each other round about the same weight, so thereabouts, all turning pro now and starting to make their way in the game. So there's going to be interesting times.
It's good steady pressure here from Kunkabayev. Really is. He hasn't rushed his work, and he's well within himself, but because the jab is so solid, just makes it so hard for Umerlayev just to get a little breathing space. You see him here walk back to the corner, absolutely shattered after only 2 rounds.
And after so long out of the game, hard to get back to the kind of real fitness that's required to be in there, particularly against a guy with the talent and presence of Kunkabayev.
Yeah, it's not so much the punch, it's just the sheer pressure all the time. His back's always on the rope, not giving a second's rest, and Kunkabayev isn't barely out of first gear.
Yeah, it's a kind of quiet intensity about that pressure. There's a presence, and with that comes pressure.
That's good there from Kunkabayev. Look at that. Umerlayev gets a little bit of, not success, but gets a little adventurous. And that just, now he's relaxed and he's found his range with Kunkabayev. He just fires back in combinations. He's been picking in shots, single shots, and all of a sudden then it's a 4-punch rally.
Yeah, you fancy now as Kunkabayev manages to pin him to the ropes, almost swiped him with a left hand. Umerlayev, to be fair, was happy to exchange with him there, but I was just about to say, I think Umerlayev's maybe just settling into his role tonight, realizes it.
Well, except for those jumping in with attacks, he's not really much coming back, is there? No, and he knows now if he just takes a step back, particularly with the back foot, let the front foot slide into position again, then he evades everything. So I think he's well aware of what's coming back and just being a little bit more adventurous with his work. Kunkabayev still taking his time. Just important not to relent at all, just keep slowly turning the screw.
Yeah, just a little reminder, the jab came back from Umerlayev, sort of pot-shotting himself to get any sort of success he can. Shot right hook there from Kunkabayev.
He's just physically too small, isn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Umerlayev,
two different weights, aren't they? He's asked a few questions against Rodchenko back in December Kunkabayev. He's a bit scrappier fight because of that, and he didn't quite look as polished and controlled as he had done on debut, and indeed as he does tonight.
Just like to see him come back now with a hook.
And it's interesting, Barry mentions that the hook, because actually that was eventually the punch that led to the retirement, the stoppage win last time up, and it looked like something he'd been working on. He was moving, transferring his body weight backwards and away onto his right side, and then he was coming back with the right hook, and eventually that was kind of the punch that started the end for Radchenko last time up. So it did look like that's something they'd been working on in the build-up to the fight in December. Into round 4 then. You'd imagine Umarlayev might have got a few quid more, given the fact that opponent was required for the top of the bill at just a few days' notice. Let's hope so. What's the kind of mindset for him, Barry, now that he's in there against a bigger guy?
Yeah, it's you try and pick his spots, don't you? He knows you've had a little bit of success, though only minor against when he's jumped to attack. So he's thinking about sliding in low, I would have thought, and trying to punch in flurries, but whilst moving around the body, which he did one time really well. But I think also what's important for him against a bigger guy is to avoid any of those long, big shots, and that's what he's been trying to do, and that's what he's been doing not too badly. Actually, he's been riding some of the shots. But for Kunkabayev now, for him, it's start throwing in combinations now. To keep him straight, you got to come back with a hook. Just lean that head over the front foot a little bit, not too far over when you throw that left hand, and then come back with that right hook.
And although the hands are low from Kunkabayev, his footwork, he always just seems to get himself out of range.
Yeah, he retreats in little steps, so yeah, and that gives him the chance, the opportunity then maybe to fire back then if someone falls short. But again, you just got to be careful he doesn't get stuck into a rhythm now of just picking the shots. The pressure was good without rushing his work, but if you do that for 7 rounds, then it's just not doing enough.
Somewhere over in Belfast, the quiet man, Stevie Ward, is saying, come and pick on someone your own size.
Well, he would have had more success, I'm pretty sure of that.
Still might. That fight might, perhaps will get made should Kunkabayev come through this one, which he is comfortably so far, and gets through with a short left hand.
I don't think it troubled Uradayev, though, to be fair. The weight of the shot knocked him over, knocked him to the side a bit, but I don't think it was actually do with too much of the power.
And to be fair to Umarlayev, he's not been overly adventurous, but he's not gone completely into his shell.
No, well, there's single shots coming at him, so he can every now and again he can mount an attack. I think Kunkabayev was accurate, and the shots are, some of them are meaty, but the onus is on Kunkabayev now to start putting his punches together.
Maybe he's trying to do that now.
He's mastered the distance now. He knows where he is, and he's comfortable with that. Nothing's coming back that's really worrying him. So let's start showing people what you got now.
He tried a couple of times at the start of the round with a swiping left hand, and there you can see it was a kind of reactionary left hand that he landed, Kunkabayev. Maybe that was part of the reason that it didn't have a big effect.
He's boxing well. He's not standout though great, but it's economical and effective, and he's boxing with ease and winning everything, and then there's no danger or pressure at all. So all those things are what you want for your fighter as a trainer, but also you can see it's in him now to start to do a bit of a better job. He's had long enough to look at Uradayev and what he has to offer, and it doesn't seem like it's enough to really trouble Kunkabayev unless he makes a real silly mistake. So I think he can start being a little bit more adventurous. And again, we talk about trying to sell yourself to the wider audience, and I think that would bode well for him if he didn't just box within himself throughout the fight and sort of made a bit more of a concerted effort to maybe try and get this guy out of here, because I think it's in his capabilities. Yeah,
and that's a good point, and it's a point you made just as a general one about maybe some of the good amateurs in this part of the world, what we've seen early on in their pro careers. He's come out maybe with a bit of intensity, maybe he's just quickened things up, little sharpness in the feet at the start of this 5th round.
What I would say, it's a mindset, because they're so gifted in Kazakhstan fighters, and they're so technically very good, and they are, but it's all based around the computer scoring, which I know has changed that, but the amateur scoring of don't take any silly risks, don't give away any points, don't take away silly shots, because it's all about picking up points more than doing more damage, where the pros is a little bit different. If you can't knock anyone out like I couldn't, and you haven't got the power, then you don't try and fight that way. You don't take the silly risks. You don't try and up the gears too much, or you throw in volume. But when you have a guy like this, I don't think Kunkabayev is a KO artist, but he has enough weight in his shots to make you feel it, and he's in control. So why wouldn't he just want to start exerting himself a little bit more on the fight?
Yeah, I think you can afford to, and particularly in the land of the bigger men. And
it's a good division to be in to sell yourself.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you and I have been talking over the last couple of years about, surely it's only a matter of time before the setup in the amateurs that has seen them, win 4 medals at the last Olympics, 6 medals at the last World Championships. Yeah. That it's only a matter of time before that translates into world titles.
And also, you can't, obviously, I'm just going to say the obvious, underestimate the importance of Gennady Golovkin, of course, how he's shown.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just a pipe dream, no, it's literally, it's a tangible thing you can see.
And not just, talking about style and the way you get it done. Of course, that was the very much the story of Golovkin, wasn't it? That was how eventually he went from being a long-standing world champion who wasn't necessarily getting the fruits of his labour to suddenly being the big drama show on and on TV, selling out in America, the kind of must-see fighter, and suddenly that translates into dollars as well.
But boxing's a sport full of dreamers, and you have to have a dream to believe in. And some of these kids from Kazakhstan years ago, there was no way they were going to get over to America to be a pro, to be the best on the planet. So they just their aspirations were Olympics, and that was it. But now they know they can do it. So that's a different dream, a different aspiration, a different desire, and you'll get another superstar from Kazakhstan in whenever it is. But you will get one, I guarantee at least.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Question of when, not if. Well, we're bridging halfway, and I must admit, when you saw them size up against each other, you looked over the overall sort of weight that Umalayev's fought at through the bulk of his career, the fact that he's coming back off an 8-year break, you must admit, you did think that maybe Kunkabayev would put on a bit of a show tonight. There's an element of cruising at cruiserweight in this one.
For a man in only his 3rd fight, boxing a man in his 25th fight, then it's a stand-up performance, let's be honest, and especially the guy's only lost 1. But you've seen glimpses of Kunkabayev, and you have a feeling that he might go on to be a really good fighter in the professional ranks. So you want to see more of him. And you can clearly see he's boxing within himself, which is great to be able to do that. But you have to. This is your time to show people how good you are now. You want to cross over to to other regions and be someone who's spoken about for contender at a certain level. But this is your opportunity. If it's not in you to do it, we wouldn't criticise you. But it's in you. We can see it. It's in there. So show us.
Well, I suppose it's calling what you're seeing rather than necessarily criticising it. The flip side of that is also it does partly depend on who you're in against, and not just what they're bringing to the table, but what they are able to do to negate that as well. And it's certainly Uradayev, smaller, maybe a little bit faster, knows enough to make sure that he's not necessarily in too much danger.
Good shot there from Emeljanov. But he hasn't shown enough that you can do more than what you're doing. That's what I feel. And you judge a talent more harshly than you judge someone you don't think is going to go places. But saying that, he's also, he's dictating everything, and the jab's been lovely for him tonight so far.
There you saw him just looking to he was looking for that shot, wasn't he? And he couldn't quite pick it, and Uradayev was gone.
Well, that was better there from Kunkabayev. He actually, he missed with the left hand. It was the right idea. He took that half a step back again, but rather than just wait, he threw the shot. It's a good shot.
It is a good shot. A single shot again.
There you go. Come back with the hook there. He sort of leaned with it then, but he leaned a little bit too far back too soon to just take the sting off the shot. We're putting his punches together now with a little bit more authority here. Kunkabayev.
Oh, there's the right hook. That's the punch that Barry'd been asking for all night. And it was because he landed the left hand first that he was on the right side to then come back with the right hook. And for the first time, Kunkabayev really getting through and making a bit of an impression.
But you know what did that? Obviously, he came back with the hook, but he'd been throwing his punches in clusters a little bit more. So he'd been relaxed, throwing his punches in bunches, and that's made it harder for Emeljanov to read his work. He's looking to survive more than maybe looking to fire back now and again.
Earning his money though, Emeljanov, I tell you, he's spitting back little shots of defiance as well.
Well, he could have went down then, couldn't he? If he was just in for the payday, he could have just went down. Just getting a little bit too close there, Kunkabayev.
Yeah, slightly clubbing him. And he landed another clubbing right hand, and that was right on the bell. And there was a little shake of the head, whether that was because it landed heavy or perceived late. Maybe we'll see in between rounds.
I had horrible visions of Emeljanov just jumping on the floor knowing the punch was late.
But he didn't. He did trudge back to his corner. He's shaking his head again there. Whether he's saying, no, not enjoying this now. Yes, there we are. There's that shake of the head. You wondered whether it was a tell or whether it was just a reaction. And in the end, we've got our answer. And that's it. He just started to quicken the tempo, but more importantly, he started to let his hands go. He started to put his shots together.
But how much better does he look when he does let those punches go? Like, I understand you don't do it in the first 2 rounds and take silly risks, but he got the good finish, and it's a great win for him. And it is, and he put his punch together lovely. Not just the finishing couple of shots, but also the combination just before that, where he was loose, relaxed, and flowing in flurries. He could have done that 3 rounds earlier at this level, I think. That's all I would say. So he boxes within himself, and that's great. And he's very good, and he punches enough sting in his shots to hurt you. And he's a talent. But if he had done that 3 rounds earlier, you couldn't criticise him one iota. It was a great performance. But on the whole picture of it, he just beat the guy who's only lost once in 24 fights up to this point. And he dominated with so much ease. It was almost like a sparring session for him, and then got him out of there when he decided to up the gears. So in that respect, it's nothing but a fantastic performance.
It's a great finish, and it was the right hook that did the damage. The very punch that Barry was saying early on in the fight might be the answer to it, and in the end, it was conclusively so. And it'll be a first professional title for Kunkabayev. It's a fantastic robe as well. What a cracker. That could become his trademark, couldn't it? If he continues up the ladder.
And also, if he gets beat, he can always use the Deontay Wilder excuse and say he was a bit too heavy on the ring walk.
Don't know if he's the type for that. That is an absolute cracker. That could become a selling point.
I'm so small and he's so big, I could live in that.
That's a double duvet for you.
More than that, I could live in that coat.
So he looks the part, and there's no doubt in the ring, in spells, he absolutely looks the part, and in the end, in the finish, he produced what was required. And hopefully we'll see more of that as he builds towards being a better fighter.
He's a talent. It's clear to see just his composure in the ring, everything about him. You can see he's a clear talent, and you know, and that's why I'm probably overcritical because of that. I feel, but you know, when he decided to put his foot on the pedal, he was fantastic.
Retired of the red corner of round 7, and the new WBO Asia Pacific Cruiserweight Champion, representing Kızıl Orda, Kamshabek Kamsa Kunkabayev.
Only 3 fights in, and he's got his hand on some silverware. Plenty of gold in that belt from the WBO. So it's a title, it moves him up the ladder, and he's very early on in his career too. Kunkabayev, that's 3-0, 3 stoppages as well, maintaining the 100% record all round. Great credit to Uradayev for stepping up at late notice. The tests are going to be stiffer, no doubt about that, for Kunkabayev. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can take the next step forward, how he develops his own style, skill set and repertoire, and also who's going to challenge him next and what kind of fights he's going to be in. No doubt the challenges are going to get stiffer, the opposition tougher, more talented, but it's Kunkabayev who rolls on. No 6'3" of him. And no doubt, Barry, that he looks the part. Interested to see the next leg of the journey when he's out again.
Well, just the way they've led him, certainly this fight is for me an indicator that they're going to try to get him in the next 12 months to a title contention. Whether he can get there, who knows? It's a division that's full of talent and emerging talent as well, especially, and a lot in the UK actually, so there's an interesting sector there. But he looks good, composed in his work, picks his punches really well. He's an intimidating figure, and when he did, as he showed, to finish it off, he knows how to finish a fight. So yeah, he's a talent indeed. 3 fights in, I wish I was that good then.
3 fights in, 3 KOs. First piece of silverware, the right hook it was. Had to go to the left hook to the body. 2 of the tools in his armory very early on in his professional career. Kunkabayev, it is the start of the show here in Almaty tonight. Hope you've enjoyed all of the action. You notice Ashbanov also winning his first professional title, not without a few questions along the way, despite what the scorecards said. And I think we quite like Talgat Shaiken as well, who moved to 4-0. We look forward to seeing him again. They're saying farewell from the arena, Armin Momnyov.
Thank you very much.
What a star he is, and we will see him again. Thanks to Barry Jones, thanks to you for watching. We'll be back again with Fight Night in due course. From all of us here, we wish you well. Bye for now.